That was terrible. Maroon, oof. What a terrible, terrible loss last night. And so let me just break it down here. This is the Mike Missanelli Show. Thanks for joining us. I assume that everybody out there is going to be very active with their opinions. So let me give you mine right away. Let's get real. They didn't lose the game because it was a bad call on 3rd and 3 and Saquon dropped the ball. Now, that would have locked up the game, but they lost because Vic Fangio's defense allowed the Atlanta Falcons to boat race down the field with no aggression on defense, no pressure on the quarterback, no coverage down the field, soft as Charmin, and the Falcons get down the field to win the game. They snatched the feet right out of victory. I've never seen anything like it. Well, one moment they're covering with a lock win, and the next minute they lose to the Atlanta Falcons because their defense let them down. And while I'm at it, let me go into this. They can't stop the run. Their pass rush stinks. They don't utilize the tight end, nor anybody else except in that game last night, Devontae Smith. They have zero dynamics with their end rushers. Zero. And I'm looking at a statistic about the middle of their defense, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter and whoever else they put in there. What have they got, like 2 tackles and no sacks in the first couple of games? That is a flat-out disgrace. But I know people are going to look at the easy thing. Hey, Saquon, it was a bad play call. It wasn't a bad play call. If you're going to laud the coaching staff for being aggressive to win a game instead of just not losing it, that's an overtly aggressive play call that should win the game. The play call was not what Atlanta was expecting. You had Saquon Barkley open in the flat. All he had to do was catch the ball. He didn't catch the ball. But when he didn't catch the ball, they're still up by 6 points. And they managed to lose the game. All the gang's all here. Bill's here. Bill said it was going to be a close game. Ray's here. Bill, I don't know if you agree with what I just said, but I'm looking at the game. I'm going, okay, everybody's coming. Here's the easy mark. Oh, Saquon dropped the ball. Oh, it was a terrible play call by Kellen Moore. No, it wasn't. It's a call that should have locked up the game. It's a call that an aggressive team, if they make that first down, man, that was ballsy. It just didn't happen, but they still had the lead.
Surprisingly, Mike, you and I are eye to eye on this one, man. I don't mind that play call at all because not only is it an aggressive play call, it's actually a pretty safe play. If Saquon's not open, Jalen Hurts just keeps it. He just keeps it. He stays in bounds, and now you run out the clock. But when it's right there for you, Saquon's wide open, the play should have worked. Game over. You don't even need to kick the field goal. You run the clock out. There's a lot of blame to go around in this football game. Yes, you can blame Nick Sirianni, not for that play. And even kicking the field goal after that play, I don't have a problem with. I didn't like Sirianni going for it in the first quarter. Comes back to haunt you.
Nobody liked that, and yet here comes these analytical statistics that they rely on, and the announcers even announced it. You saw it was a go, right? Analytically, it was a go. So, like, you can't have it both ways. You're going to complain about them following analytics, and they say, well, they should have. Yeah, in hindsight, you go back and, yeah, they should have kicked the field goal.
Didn't like it in real time, but that was the one decision I didn't like when it came to coaching. When you look at the blame for this football game, and people want to blame Saquon, they want to blame Kellen Moore, they want to blame Nick Sirianni. For me, it's this defense. This defense is terrible. They are the worst rush defense in the NFL in terms of yards per carry allowed. They sit at 32nd out of 32 teams through 2 weeks.
It's a joke. And they supposedly have, like, they beefed up their defensive tackles to prevent something like that. Listen, I can't not focus on this last drive. I saw a team with a 6-point lead where the defense didn't put up a fight to let that team go all the way down the field. It's incomprehensible to me.
It is incomprehensible, and I've been saying on this show a lot, and people come at me all the time when I ridicule the greatest general manager to ever exist, Howie Roseman. He's a good GM, but he has failed the personnel on this defense 2 years in a row now. You look at his acquisitions. Devin White can't even make the active roster on game day. He was a big free agent signing. Bryce Huff, I don't even want to use his first name anymore because I don't want to bring bad mojo to Bryce, who's going Red October shortly. But Huff can't do anything. Nolan Smith, I said it a couple weeks ago, doesn't pass the eye test for me. I think he's going to be a major bust. He continues to prove me right. The pass rush is non-existent. Your defensive tackles outside of Jalen Carter, who didn't play great last night, Milton Williams, who had a sack. Where's Jordan Davis? Another Howie Roseman
See, this
pick.
is the thing. Listen, nobody can argue the fact that they have terrible edge rushers. And that lays at the feet of Howie Roseman. You're going to come back to Brandon Graham. I know. I'm the sentimental thing. He can't play anymore. Bryce Huff looks lost. Nolan Smith looks like a bad pick. And Josh Sweat, what's the need to bring him back? I mean, come on. You're making evaluations on guys and hoping that they can get to the quarterback. None of them have any kind of dynamic to get to the quarterback like most teams have. But let's go to the tackles. They supposedly button that up by grabbing those Georgia guys, by having Milton Williams in there. They're getting destroyed with the run.
Mike, it's now 11 straight opponents who have put up over 100 yards rushing against the Eagles' defense. The 9 games before that, they had only let one opponent go over 100, and it was an overtime game in Washington. Now it's been 11 straight. That rushing defense is broken, and I don't know how you fix it.
7.8 the first week, 5.4 the next week. Bijan Robinson is a good player. I get it. But they're getting steamrolled. And that's what I did not expect with this Fangio defense. And to boot, he's not an aggressive defensive coordinator. He's not going to blitz, right? So when I'm looking at it going, okay, you got to get some kind of pressure on the quarterback, especially on the last drive. They play so scared. On that drive, they're playing scared because they want to drop guys in coverage. They get no pressure on the quarterback. That guy, when he has time, can sizzle it. And he did.
Yeah, you got to do something. When you're not getting there with your edges, Fangio's got to scheme up something, but the personnel's not good enough. So I agree with you. I'd like to see Fangio be a little more aggressive, but at the same time, I don't think he has the personnel to work with. I don't think they're that good.
When we sat there watching him draft Georgia guys, we go, man, that's really savvy. Draft Georgia guys. Carter, Davis, Nolan Smith. 2 solo tackles, 1 quarterback hurry, no sacks, and no big plays. That's what they've gotten out of these 2 guys, these 3 guys, in the first 2 games. But I just can't, like, the juxtaposition of them losing, because everybody looks at it. I'm seeing social media last night. I know, Ray, you took a lot of calls last night on the post game. And I'm going, what a terrible call. It's wide open. The play is wide open. It's not a play that Atlanta even defended. And Saquon doesn't, okay, he was a beast all game long. He caught a couple of balls, right? I had an argument with John Kincade on the way out. He goes, why would you throw to a guy who's got a terrible track record of catching balls? Well, he didn't have a terrible track record last night. He caught a couple of balls. All right?
They ran that exact play. The one that was originally ruled a touchdown, but his knee was down at the 1.
Right.
That was the exact same play.
I'm trying to stick up for him. He looked off the ball, and he dropped it. It happens. But the play call, people go, oh, it's a bad play call. You should have run the ball. I get it. But you also wanted to be aggressive to seal the game, right? You should run it, and then you need to kick the field goal, and then more time. I get that. But they're not anticipating that ball is going to stop the clock because it's wide open. He's got to catch it. It's like if he catches it, there's no clock problem.
And the argument John made this morning, and I see a lot of people on Twitter making, is if they ran the football, they had a 97% chance of winning the game. Guess what? Saquon Barkley catches that ball 99 out of 100 times, and if he catches it, you 100%. Win the game. So now it's a 99% chance of winning the damn game.
Exactly. And I know people are going to go, disagree on the play call. Well, Well, you're only going to disagree because the ball went off his hands, right? In a perfect world, you go, man, that's an open play. Look how aggressive that is. That wins the game for him. How about that? It's funny. We want it both ways in this town. We like when they're aggressive, and yet we reserve the right to criticize the play call. I'm not going to criticize the play call, but there's so many other things that you can criticize. And if you want to criticize the play call, knock yourself out. I'm just going to tell you, I don't agree with you. I thought it was a fine play call. It's wide freaking open. 610-632-0975 is how you get in the Mike Missanelli Show. And we're going to have a very busy day. So get in early and often. Back after this. And that effort last night on the final drive, I got to tell you about something good. Fanatic FanFest ticket raid is happening today at 11 o'clock. That's right. That's not very far from now, where you can get your tickets on an online ticket raid at 11 o'clock. All you got to do is go to our website, 975thefanatic.com, and score some tickets at exactly 11. We'll open that. And, of course, FanFest is very exciting. All the festivities that will be there. You can get your favorite Philly team logo painted on your head. I don't know if this moment people would want the Eagles, but you can also try your arm at quarterback toss and see if you can throw in Jalen Hurts, although he was fine last night. Take a chance on the FanDuel Giant Casino Roulette Wheel. You got inflatable a football toss, cornhole, prize wheel, putt-putt, T-shirt cannon, courtesy of Wendy's, where you can score some Frosties and fries and burgers and more. And sports memorabilia will be on display for purchase. Portion of the proceeds benefit the AACR. All kinds of good stuff. It's brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Complete details on our website, 975thefanatic.com. And again, 11 o'clock, ticket rate. We want to see you all at FanFest. All right, I just talked about Jalen Hurts. Here's what my conclusion of Jalen Hurts last night. They need him to run the football to have that balanced attack. They certainly needed him last night without A.J. Brown. He can run through the middle of the field. He can't beat anybody on the edge. He's no longer capable of beating anybody on the edge, which is all right. That's fine. As long as the middle's open, he's going to gain yards. But he doesn't have the speed to get around the edge anymore. He just doesn't.
I certainly felt that way in the beginning of the game. He looked slow at times, but then I did see a burst.
The burst was in the middle of the field.
Yeah, he does have a burst.
Where there was gaps. He's fine at that. But when he's going laterally, he doesn't have enough speed to get around the edge. Because people are beating him there.
I've told you before, and yesterday I said it again on the show, when Jalen has more than 10 carries, the team was 17-4. He had 13 carries yesterday.
And very effective carries.
And they should have won the game, but now he drops to 17-5. But I have a bigger problem with, and I know Hurts is going to get a lot of blame from the Hurts haters. You tell me how Jahan Dotson, Dallas Goedert
doesn't get involved?
Can't get open. And I know they're going to say, oh, well, Hurts isn't finding them. I'm sick and tired of waiting for the Dallas Goedert leap. Every single week we
got open last night a couple times, right? The one play, they had two tight ends in the same area. With Calcaterra, I don't know why that happened, but Calcaterra did make a reception on that. Now, I agree with you. Jahan Dotson obviously is not that familiar yet with this offense because they're targeting Covey, who's getting 2 yards a catch for crying out loud. I mean, come on. Let's utilize a guy with speed.
Now, look, I said it yesterday, so I'm not going to disagree with what I said, that the Falcons' defense was better than people were giving them credit for. So I do think the Falcons' defense is good. I didn't expect the Eagles to roll this team over, although I did expect them to win. I thought it was going to be close because of that defense that the Falcons have. But every single season we say, this is the year Dallas Goedert becomes an all-pro. This is the year he makes a Pro Bowl. Going into last night, I kept hearing from people, without A.J. Brown, it's time for Dallas Goedert to step up. His stat line last night, Dallas Goedert, he gets targeted 4 times. He has 3 catches for 38 yards. Like, come on.
I get it, but here's the thing. That said, he still ran the football up their giggy last night, right? They ran the football well enough and executed enough on offense where they should have won the game with a 6-point lead with that quarterback trying to take them all the way down the field. It's just, I can't imagine how that happened last night, and you got to put the blame squarely on Fangio's defense and Fangio himself for not doing anything that would influence a more aggressive result instead of letting that team just go down the field in 40 seconds.
Listen, I don't disagree with what you said, but you're leaving one person out that's culpable for that defense. And it's Howie Roseman. Yes, Fangio should have been more aggressive. Yes, the defense failed this team, but you can't talk about that without mentioning Roseman.
But at that point, I can't think of Howie Roseman. At that point, my personnel should be good enough, no matter what it is, to stop that team from getting down the field that quickly. I'm not thinking of Howie Roseman at that time. It's in the defensive coordinator's hands at that point. Whatever you have out there, as inadequate as it could be, you still have to stop that team from getting all the way down the field.
I don't disagree, but you can't let Roseman off the hook because when you
come on, man, I'm not thinking of Roseman at this point.
When you're talking about pressure on Kirk Cousins,
whatever you have out there, make a play. It wasn't like Atlanta was torching them all game long. They were good enough to hold Atlanta to 15 freaking points at that point.
What you wanted was pressure. You wanted pressure on that final drive. Where's Bryce Huff? Where's Nolan Smith? Where's Josh Sweat?
Then send somebody. You're so afraid of blitzing and put pressure on the quarterback. That guy's this veteran quarterback. If you're going to give him time, he's going to make throws. Then send somebody, Vic. Bear it. Take a chance. Well, you're so afraid of getting beat with a long play. Well, you got beat anyway.
I don't disagree with you, but when there's a significant lack of personnel with your free agent acquisitions, your first-round draft picks, sure, bring a blitz. So you would have rather been beaten that way than to sit there.
Well, am I going to get beat that way? I don't know. Here's what I know. They got beat playing that way. They got beat playing a lack of aggression. That's how they got beat. So I'm going to sit here and say, well, oh, my God, they would have been total disaster if they just blitzed somebody, corner blitz, safety, but whatever they had to do to put pressure on the guy. They let him stand back. This is not a young quarterback. This is a guy who could throw passes. He threw darts in that last drive because he had open receivers where he could just let it loose. And they ran good patterns, those guys.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And Q missed defending a pass and then missed the guys he got by him.
And Slay misses London in the end zone for that touchdown.
That's just ridiculous. That play. Why are your eyes on the quarterback in that spot? Big play, Slay. It's a joke. I can't believe they lost that game. It's a terrible, terrible loss. And you should not boil it down to Kellen Moore's 3rd and 3 call. That's all I'm saying.
No, we're definitely seeing eye to eye on that. I loved the play call. Because everyone now, with hindsight being 2020, wants to go back and say they didn't like it. If that pass play is completed, everyone's going to be touting Kellen Moore and what a great play call.
If the play
it was the right call.
If the play is not open, then it's foolish. The play was designed perfectly to complete that pass and win the game.
And if the play is not open, Jalen just keeps the ball.
Exactly.
That's why it's the right play call, because you only throw it if he's open, and he was. And it wasn't like you were asking him to make a tough catch. It was the right call. And now we can debate, though, on 4th and 3 after he drops it, do you kick the field goal? I still do. I go up 6 at that point.
Of course you do.
And put it on your defense.
They got to score a touchdown. They're out of timeouts. It should be the advantage for you at that point. You're up 6. Close out the freaking game. You're supposed to be a good team. You know, the Carolina Panthers, you should close out that no matter what kind of crappy personnel that you have out there that Bill wants to blame Howie Roseman for, who, by the way, was on the sidelines at the end. You still should be. You're a savvy defensive coordinator, been around 100 years. You can't stop that team from getting all the way down the field. I just can't understand it. I'm lit.
There's a lot of people sharing this blame. I'm just not letting Roseman off the hook because this is the second year in a row now.
This is not a day.
We've seen a bad personnel.
This is not a day to blame Howie Roseman for crying out loud.
How is it not?
Listen, I understand what you're saying. This is a fluid situation. Howie Roseman's not on defense.
They haven't had an edge rusher.
They got enough players on defense to stop Atlanta from getting all the way down the field.
You got 6 regular season games now where an edge rusher hasn't got a sack.
I get it. But not on that sequence. That sequence should be stopped no matter if you have Manny Mo and Jack out there.
Defense isn't good enough, man.
610-632-0975. We'll get to your calls after this. We're getting a lot of tweets on my Twitter, which is MikeMiss25. Bird's eye view, obviously a fanboy. He tweets this to me. It sucks that they lost, but if you really want to feel negative every week, tune in to Mike Missanelli. Oh, I'm supposed to feel positive about last night? Sure, let's be positive about how they lost a game last night that they had a 99% chance to win. Yeah, huh? Oh, they're wonderful. Oh, the boys tried hard. Your sister's ass. I'm negative. This is what I'm supposed to be after a game like that. You should share the same venom that your team let you down as a fan last night. Let's get to the head coach, Nick Sirianni. When asked about the 3rd and 3 play call, and we'll have one on top of another because a reporter pressed him about the play and why he went with it.
Well, sometimes, you can't just be every time it's 3rd and 3, say you're going to run it, right? You got to teams obviously pick up on that. If you're every time you're 3rd and 3, you're going to run it. Every time you're and set yourself up for 4th down. So sometimes you got to throw quick. Sometimes you got to run it. Sometimes you got to set yourself up. Sometimes you have 2 opportunities to get it on 3rd and 3 with 2 passes. Sometimes you have the opportunities to get it with runs. So again, we can't just be so predictable that we're going to say, hey, every 3rd and 3, if you're in 4-down mode, that you're going to run the football. That's just not realistic in this league. There's too many good coaches in this league. Hey, it didn't work in this particular one, and I'd like to have those back.
All right, so the explanation now, the counter to that is, well, if you run the ball, the clock is now to your advantage, and you can still kick the field goal, and you're not going to give them 40 seconds to come back down the field. But the counter to that is it's like a running play, and all he has to do is catch the ball. So now he gets pressed on it a little bit, and he gets a little dismissive.
To clarify on the calls, though, Kellen's making, that.
Kellen's the offense coordinator that makes. Kellen's offense coordinator makes the calls. Yeah, if you're trying to stir that up.
Rule him on those.
Yeah, I'm the head coach.
Yeah, okay. He's the head coach, and this is throw Kellen under the bus with that particular situation.
I don't take it that way.
All right.
Look, I know
how do you take it?
I get accused all the time now of being this Sirianni defender. First of all, his answer to the first question was correct. On a 3rd and 3 where they're loading the box, you roll out Jalen Hurts. The ball's in his hand. If it's open, you just throw a nice, easy pass to Saquon. If not, you hold on to it. No problem. It's a very safe play.
Yeah,
it was the right call.
The counter is you just run the ball and take more time off the clock. You can still do the same thing, kick the field goal.
You could, but look how quickly the Falcons moved down the field. So would it have even mattered if you ran 40 seconds off the clock? I mean,
well, yeah,
they still scored.
Yeah, it would have.
They scored in like a minute, Mike.
It definitely would have.
They scored in a minute.
I get it, but that time gave them more leeway to be soft. Maybe they aren't as soft. I don't know. 40 seconds is 40 seconds. All right, so go to the second point.
And then the second point is, when the play calls are good, well, Kellen Moore, look how good Kellen Moore is, his offensive coordinator. And now people don't like the play call, so it's Sirianni's fault. Like, this is the problem I have with people. You can't have it both ways. It's either Sirianni or it's not.
No, it's not. I mean, because Sirianni can say, no, Kellen, we don't want that. I mean, come on. You can't he can't hide behind the fact that it's Kellen Moore. He's always got the opportunity to overrule. He's the head coach.
And I'm with you on that. But the question, the reason why I think he got snappy.
You keep saying you're with me, you're not with me.
He could have overruled it, but you agree it was the right call.
I agree it was the right call, but your counter argument is they always blame Sirianni. Well, Sirianni has the last word.
What I'm saying is the reason he gets snippy with McClain there is Jeff McClain is trying to stir something up that's not well, who's the one calling the plays? We know who's calling the damn plays.
But as a reporter, it's good to stir it up because we were told he was just going to be the CEO, the overseer, the manager. So whatever Kellen Moore does, he still can overmanage. That's what he's getting at as a reporter.
He absolutely can. And I did not like the decision of Nick Sirianni in the first quarter to kick the field goal. But I have another issue with our man, Jeff McClain. Mm-hmm. So he wrote an article on theinquirer.com, and he talks about how right before that 3rd and 3, the Eagles had to burn a timeout, and he tried to blame it on that they didn't have the right personnel. And Sirianni spoke about it and said, no, we were planning on taking a timeout there anyway. But if you watch the replay, you could see Sirianni very heated on the sidelines. And if you go back and watch it, before the 3rd and 3, Jalen Hurts hits the hard count. Matthew Judon jumps into the neutral zone. Neither Jordan Mailata or Landon Dickerson reacts to him jumping in the neutral zone. If they do, first down, game over. That's why Sirianni was upset. McClain's acting like he was upset because they didn't have the right personnel on the field. That's not what happened. It was because neither one of those guys reacted. And he says, get your bleeping head in the game. Game should have been over. We shouldn't even have seen the Saquon Barkley draft.
Another Sirianni compliment. Here we go, Ray.
No, look, Sirianni deserves some of the blame.
He did the right thing there.
He deserves some of the blame, but I'm not putting a majority of what happened last night on
Don't give me that Kellen Moore's the offensive coordinator. Stop with that.
No, Kellen Moore made the right call. That was the right play call.
But he's like, when pressed that maybe you should have overruled it, he threw Kellen Moore out there. That's what he did. All right? Tony in West Philly, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Tony.
Mikey Miss, good morning.
What's up, Tone? How you doing?
Hey, Mike, I normally agree with you, but I disagree with you and Bill this morning about that call. But not. It's the optics of it. Remember, Sirianni declined the penalty that made it 3rd and short. That gave us.
Yes, he did.
He declined. That's what. So if you're going to decline that penalty, you're thinking, okay, we're going to run the ball to leave you guys with no timeouts. We're going to take 40 seconds.
But Tony, they picked up a first down after that decline. That was before that 3rd and 3.
I know, but it still gave you an extra down. It gave you an extra down to play with to run off an extra 40 seconds. That's what made it crazy because it's like, okay, why throw the ball when if you run the ball, they're out of timeout at that point, so you're going to get an extra 40 seconds taken off.
I get it, but the play they ran is like a run. It should be. It's just a run.
But here's my second point.
Okay.
Here's my second point. Mm-hmm. I need my quarterback, Jalen. When they give you a BS call, you got to override it. Jalen,
no, you don't. You don't override it. You don't override it. You don't override it. The last thing you want to do is override the call. They're looking at it from up above. They're looking at the analytics of it. You're not going to override that call.
But Mikey Miss, do you think Tom situation, knowing if I can burn an extra 40, you think Tom Brady throws that ball?
It's irrelevant what Tom Brady would do. The call comes in. Jalen's got to be into the call going, you know what? He's open. We executed that play, 10 minutes ago, the same play. He's wide open on the play. Why would Jalen Hurts overrule that call?
Because it's situational.
No. You don't overrule the call if you're the quarterback. You trust in your offensive people. And it was there. You're overruling a play that was there. It's such revisionist history. You go back, it was a running play. Really, it's a floater of a pass that goes like 7 yards right in his hands. It's a running play.
It was the right decision. It really was the right decision. The play was there. And if it's not there, he keeps the ball.
Look at, they should have done this. Even if they did, when they did that, they still had a 6-point lead, and the defense has to preserve with less than a minute. I'm going to lose my voice today.
I am too.
I swear to God.
I am too. A lot of people are assuming, because I've heard this argument, he picks up a couple of yards, and now you could do the tush-push on 4th and inches or whatever it was. If you go back and watch the way the Falcons had the box loaded up, the Eagles would have been lucky if they didn't lose yards if they ran the football in that situation. They would have been lucky if they didn't lose yardage. They called the right play. You get Jalen on the outside.
But if they lose yardage, they still kick the field goal, have a 6-point lead. This is what people are saying.
But you're still going to give the Falcons an opportunity.
But you're going to give it to them with less time, and you don't know how they're going to respond then.
But the reason you agree with the call is because if Saquon catches it, the Falcons will get the ball back at all.
I think it was a bad call at all. I did never anticipated that Saquon Barkley would drop that ball. And even if he drops the ball, you're up 6. This is what people are ignoring. You're up 6 with less than a minute. They don't have timeouts. You got a defense coordinator that's been around for 100 years. You can't stop that from going all the way down the field.
So you're putting all the blame, or most of the blame. If we're ranking the blame meter here, you're putting a majority of it on Vic Fangio.
Yes. You got to be able to influence a result there, and it's ridiculous that team can march down the field like that.
See, me and you are in agreement on everything. We're both putting it on the defense, but you're putting it on the coach, and I'm putting it on the personnel.
The personnel that held the Falcons to how many points? 15 before that? Like, come on.
The Falcons' offense has not been very effective.
I get it. They didn't have a rush. They couldn't stop the run. It wasn't like the Falcons poured 30 points on them. Aaron in West Philly are on 97.5 The Fanatic. Aaron.
I got to go a different route. I blame Barkley first. How you missed that when he came here?
Is he the first? Hold on. Is he the first guy to drop a pass? No, I'm serious. You see it all around the NFL. People who aren't supposed to drop passes drop passes. Right? Am I right?
All right. So people give up a lot on defense too if you want to go that route. If he catches the ball, we ain't even talking about that. If he catches the ball,
Aaron, you're telling me that even if he drops the ball and they have a 6-point lead, you're telling me that you don't blame the defense?
I'm gonna give the second blame to Nick. In the first quarter, it was 4th and 3. He calls a timeout and go out there and get stuck. I said, kick a field goal. Just kick a field goal.
4th and 4.
He ran a play.
It was 4th and 4. And I would have got the points too, but the analytics will tell you.
Okay.
The analytics, they rely on the analytics, and the analytics tell you to go for it. That's the message he's getting from his two crack analytical people who are up in the booth.
Okay, so the analytics ain't work when it was 4th and something. At the end of the game, you don't use the analytics. I'm going to kick the field goal. So what's the point of the using the analytics?
Well, I don't know what the analytics said in that position. You had to take the field goal in that spot.
Nah, I think the analytics actually said to go for it.
Really? Well, then he's picking from column A, column B. Then he's not being consistent. But early in the game, there's no question he's relying on analytical information that's coming into his ear.
Look, I was completely fine with the way the Eagles and Sirianni handled the end of the game on the 3rd and 3 and then the 4th and 3 kicking the field goal. But in real time, not revisionist history, I hated going for it in a 0-0 game in the first quarter. You take the points. I don't care what the analytics say.
When you get all the way down there, I think the risk-reward, if you don't get points, is more crippling than if you overrule the analytics and get 3. Because at the end of the day, you have 3 on the board. And the analytics can't say anything about that. So I get it. I would have kicked the field goal too.
But here's my problem with the analytics is they don't take into account the feel of the game, the opponent that you're playing. And you looked at that Falcons team, and this is what we talked about at length yesterday, and I kept talking about how good the Falcons defense actually was. They shut down the Steelers. You take the points when you can, especially because the Falcons don't have a high-powered offense. Under wraps for most of the game, you just keep accumulating points. I didn't have a problem with the end of the game. I did have a problem with the decision in the first quarter.
Okay. I agree. I was saying kick the field goal. Now, and I'm surprised that Troy Aikman, instead of focusing on the chyron on the screen, which says the analytics say go, I'm surprised that they didn't analyze it further and say, in this particular situation, if I'm the quarterback, I would really push to take the 3, get some points out of there. They didn't do any of that. And I'm going to tell you something they also didn't do. Yeah, I'm watching C.J. Garner-Johnson commit a penalty.
I saw you tweet that. That's not a penalty.
He takes off his helmet. That's a frickin' penalty.
But the reason why it's not is his helmet had already been dislodged.
BS. You know what his whole act is?
Without a doubt.
He was celebrating.
Without a doubt he was. But the rule is because the helmet was already dislodged and on the top of his head, it had come up a little bit, you can't give him a penalty there. You can't.
All right. Well, if I'm an analyst, I guess that deserved a penalty. I'm sorry. All right, because he does that all the time. He's like one of those dudes, and that would have messed them completely up. Greg in Bethlehem, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Greg.
Hey, guys. Obviously, if you just look at it superficially, the play with Barkley and the drop seems like the apex of the game, but if you look at it, the whole game, the defensive line was totally anemic. It's hard to quantify how many points Atlanta got because of the defensive line being so pitiful. But, they didn't stop the run. They didn't pressure the pass. I mean, what did
You're absolutely right. And here's what we should be talking about today. The very same thing that you're talking about, but with a win. Because there's no way you can tell me that the Falcons should come down the field with 40-some seconds and score a touchdown to win it. It shouldn't happen. No matter how bad the Eagles' defensive line is, it still shouldn't happen that way.
No, and I don't know what Vic Fangio, I don't know exactly how the defensive secondary was aligned, whether it was a prevent secondary that just allowed everything.
Well, of course it was prevent. That's what it was. They left gaps way down the field for chunk plays. The last thing you can give are chunk plays like that.
Right. Well, it seems to me that if you're not getting pressure with the front four on defense, then you got to, even though you don't like it, you got to bring some pressure from the secondary.
I totally agree. Okay, so let's just go over it here. They start at the 30. He hit the first Kyle Pitts, who was absent the whole game, all of a sudden catches the ball. That's 11 yards. All right, that's not that big of a chunk. The next play is to Darnell Mooney for 21. That's a chunk. Okay? That's a chunk. There's Blankenship on that coverage. Now, another first down. He goes 26 yards to Darnell Mooney again. And so there you go. Boom. Now, come on. Seriously? Those two chunk plays? That's the one to Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah, it's inexcusable,
on, right?
It's inexcusable, and I'm putting some of the blame on Fangio. You're saying bring the blitz. We're assuming he brings the blitz. It works. I'm just saying, I get what you mean.
Here's what I know. It didn't work. The way they played it. Okay?
No, it didn't. But this is why I keep going back to when you have a first-round draft pick on the edge, when you have a big free agent signing on the edge, Nolan Smith, Bryce Huff, when you make the decision that I'm going to let the closer, remember the nickname, the closer, Hassan Reddick, we're going to trade him away and we're going to restructure Josh Sweat. So we're going to go into this season with Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Bryce Huff, Nolan Smith, and now you're saying, Mike, he needs to bring the blitz. Why? Because his edge rushers aren't good enough.
Okay, well, now you know that, so be active. Right? Okay. Listen, my guys are getting home. I can't let these guys come down the field with big chunk play. I got to do something different here. Right? And then to boot, big play Slay gets beat with a double move by a guy who doesn't even have hair on his ass yet. He's been in the league for what? A half an hour? Drake London?
I think it's his fourth season.
And he spun him.
What is this, his
third season?
Let me see.
He spun him, big play Slay. Looking at the quarterback. Veteran, a cornerback.
Yeah,
looking at the quarterback.
Third season.
Hasn't done anything in the league yet. Last night was like his wake-up party.
And then Darius Slay does come out after the game and says, this one's on me, Philly.
I'm shocked at that. Because normally he would say, I played a great game. Everybody else sucked.
And I couldn't see it because Slay has me blocked for whatever reason, but I saw someone else screenshot.
All right, the online ticket rate is coming up at 11 o'clock. The 10 o'clock hour of the Mike Missanelli Show had been brought to you by Window Nation. Take advantage of their 50% off sale on all style windows, plus make no down payments, no interest for 12 full months. Go 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. Get to our website at exactly 11 o'clock to score some FanFest tickets. We're back after this. Is brought to you by Grungo Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. Pray for peace, prepare for trial. GrungoLaw.com. I know there's a lot of people out there that have a different opinion than mine when it comes to why they lost that game last night. And I'm here to tell you that your opinion would be wrong.
You would be wrong, but that's okay.
Yeah, because they lost last night because they allow a quarterback to go down the field 70 yards in a minute with no timeouts to win the game with a touchdown, and that falls directly on the defense and the defensive coordinator. All right? You can say what you will about the pass, the play, should have called it, blah, 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 blah. If that play should have been completed. It doesn't matter. The play was a good play call, but even when it wasn't completed, they had a 6-point lead with the other team with no timeouts. And you're going to tell me that that's the play that lost the game? All right, let's hear from quarterback robot last night. And he played well. I'm not here to criticize Jalen Hurts, but here's what he had to say afterwards.
Keep pressing forward. Keep your head up. At the end of the day, we have to intensely control the controllables. And I think when I look at this game, there are a lot of things that we could have controlled fundamentally in our details, the little things that we just didn't take advantage of. And so this is the opportunity for us to learn from it. I think we've taken big steps in terms of coming together as a unit, and we need to continue on that journey and learn from this.
Is there
I think it's a great test for us.
You can cut that. Is there a metal window in his back that they open and make sure the wires are still connected? Is that what they do?
He's clearly
That's the funny
human.
thing that makes me chuckle.
You hear his voice there. He got a little
intensely
cold.
controlled and controllables. Come on, man.
You got to try and be the coffee.
Now, one of the things I think gets lost a little bit in this, and I agree with you as far as I put a majority of the blame on the defense. I don't put it on the play calling. I liked the call at the end of the game. There's a lot to blame, though. I didn't like Sirianni's decision in the first quarter. I didn't like a lot of things. I still blame the defense. But as great as Jalen Hurts played, I hated that last interception because you still had a timeout. I understand you're trying to push the ball down the field, but at that point in the game, you still had enough time. You got the ball.
You got enough time, and you had timeouts, didn't you?
You had one timeout,
okay,
and you got the ball on.
You're right. Why not the middle of the field to a tight end?
You got your ball on the 43.
That's what I mean. Like, inch your way towards field goal. Like I don't get the throw either. It's a stupid throw. But nobody's going to focus on that one.
No, you're not going to focus on that, nor should you. I'm not saying that's the reason that they lost.
No, I agree with you.
But I didn't like that play.
I totally agree with you. Now, let's take inventory of Sirianni here because there's a lot of people in the media that are really hammering him today, including our pal Ruben Frank of NBC Sports Philly, who puts a spotlight on him. The fact of the matter is, now this guy as a CEO is 1-1, and that was a bad loss last night as a CEO. But if you accumulate it, he's now lost 8 of his last 10.
Not a good look.
All right.
So I'm not doing a good enough job.
Get back to the phones. Sean in New Jersey, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Sean.
Yeah, that call is a very high percentage play that every team in the NFL will use on a 3rd and short, trying to keep a drive alive. So the call was fine. No one would expect a professional athlete to drop that ball, and it just happens. It is what it is. But my biggest concern is the defense. Like, these 2 tackles from Georgia, what's going on? These guys were supposed to be the guys.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling like they're getting carved up.
I agree.
I know we hurt in the secondary. I know Darius Slay is at the end. I know we got a rookie at the other corner. And I know that I'm not going to get mad at Howie today. I'm going to wait till Thursday. I'll be mad at Howie. Today I got to be mad at. Today I have to be angry with. And I don't know Vic Fangio. I don't know his history. I don't know much about him at all. But I'm saying, whatever you have as personnel, you have to be able to coach them up in situational football. It's just that simple. And I feel that he does need to take a lot of the blame for that last drive. You got to be able to coach your guys in these types of situations to come through, and he didn't. But the Flyers have to step it up, too. I'm not letting them off the hook.
Well, here's the most troubling thing for me. I know their outside rush stinks, okay? They don't have enough dynamics to get to the quarterback from the edge. But what was supposed to be solid was the middle. Now, they've been carved up the middle by two teams' rushing attacks.
They're going to be in trouble this week. I think they lose again.
Well, we'll see. That's a hot team they're playing. So, the one thing I didn't think was going to happen, I didn't think, like this Huff thing, he looks lost, all right? And maybe he'll get it together, and maybe it'll turn out to be a good acquisition. But, you're relying on Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat. They've already revealed to you what they are. And you're relying on Nolan Smith, who has shown you nothing. So, I gotta bite the bullet and live with that. But I didn't have to live with defensive tackles being porous.
No, you got a lot invested in your defensive tackles. But, you go back to the Nolan Smith. Did you see the play where Bijan Robinson put him on his ass?
Yeah.
I mean, even the link reacted to it. Mm-hmm. The guy looks completely lost. And I know people don't want to blame Howie. I don't understand. Even you saying this isn't on Howie. That's a first-round draft pick, man. Bryce Huff is your big free agent acquisition. So is Devin White, who couldn't even crack the active roster yesterday. He's a healthy scratch. This is the reason the defense is in the predicament it is. Yeah, Fangio should have been more aggressive. Okay, I give you that. Sirianni should have kicked the field goal in the first quarter. I give you that. Saquon should have caught the ball at the end of the game. I give you that. But this defensive personnel now, 2 years in a row, isn't good enough.
You want to give me? I'll give you something else. The drive that they did not kick the field goal, Saquon is carving them up. He goes for 9. He goes for 9. He goes for 10. He goes for 11. And then he asked out as he needed a blow.
That's what it looked like on the TV, that he needed a blow. He asked out for a play.
Okay, Kenny Gainwell's in there for 2 plays.
And then they brought Saquon back on third down.
And then they throw it. And you got Watts out of that drive.
Yeah, you did get it.
All right, let's tweak the people who want to focus on this bad play call. And let's get some game highlights in here, Ray. Let's go with the broadcast of Saquon's drop on 3rd and 3 with the Eagles up 18-15. That's number
3rd down and 3. Barkley in the backfield.
Don't touch that.
Hurts. Barkley dropped it. Wow. And that obviously stops the clock. They throw it on 3rd down and 3. It's 4th down. They don't pick up the 1st down, and this was there.
There it is, the murmur. You heard the murmur in the crowd there on that. Ooh, the groans.
I mean, he's wide
didn't
open,
happen,
man. And that's just such an easy play. What was the ball traveling 3 yards in the air?
That's what I mean. Now, I heard John today talk about how and they flashed to Chiron that he's got the most drops. I don't understand that, frankly, because at Penn State he caught everything. But he's got a lot of drops. Again, that was a lot of them were with the Giants where there's no protection. I mean, I get it. He dropped the ball. That should. But the call is wide open.
But first of all, that stat is skewed, okay? The reason why that stat is skewed is because they talk about how he's got the most drops of any running back few seasons or whatever. Not every running back is targeted in the passing game as much as Saquon Barkley was with the New York Giants. So that stat is a skewed stat.
Right. But again, it's a play that's like, if that succeeds, oh my God, that's such a great call. It's also, it puts the game away. They're expecting run. They got a lot of people in the box. Boom. You outflux them. Or whatever.
That's a good one.
Outflux them. I don't even know what the hell that means.
The flux capacitor.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, check out the Fanatic Deal of the Week. It's the Bates Motel. If you weren't scared enough about last night, you can go to the Bates Motel. It's our Fanatic Deal of the Week where you get 2 adult combo tickets to the Bates Motel for the price of 1. 2 tickets at a $52 value. Prepare for Halloween thrills at the Bates Motel, one of the most frightening haunted attractions in the country, located in Glen Mills, PA. This exclusive offer. Get it while supplies last on our website, 975thefanatic.com/deals. Yeah. My bad side here. Some of the people on my Twitter. This loss was on Saquon. The loss wasn't on Saquon. It was a beast all freaking game. He didn't catch. He dropped the ball. Like he's not the first guy to drop a ball. Okay, the execution did not come to fruition, but the execution of the play was right there. Sometimes a guy's going to drop a ball and it unnerves you, and you go, he's got to make that catch. And yes, you're right. But it's not like the first time that somebody's dropped the ball that he should have caught. You still had a 6-point lead. The other team had no timeouts. This is like making my head explode today. We got to look at the real reason why they lost. A defense should be able to stop that team from going 70 yards in less than a minute.
Number one on the blame list is the defense, but you can't completely absolve Barkley.
I'm not absolving him. I'm saying, you know what? If a million receivers caught a ball without dropping it, then I blame Saquon Barkley. But guess what? People drop balls when you least expect it. If the play was there, you executed the play, it was open, that's as good as you can do. And that is up to the guy to catch it. But even when he doesn't catch it, you go up by 6. This is what I can't figure out. You're up by – I get it. Right? That would have sealed the game. Maybe you should have run it. Blah, 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 blah. You mean to tell me I can't count on a veteran defensive coordinator and some personnel to stop a team to going down the field with chunk yardage that quickly? It doesn't make sense to me.
No, the major part of this blame is on the defense. Now, you and I disagree what part of the defense. I blame personnel. You seem to be blaming coaching more with Vic Fangio. But I also am not going to sit up here and apologize for Saquon Barkley dropping that pass. He's got to catch it.
I get it. I'm not saying he shouldn't, but I'm saying, like, I've seen guys drop balls. You go, oh, man, can't drop that ball. I get it. But it didn't. It wasn't like that drop ball lost them the game. The other team had to win the game by coming all the way back down the field. That didn't lose the game.
It depends on how you look at it.
If the Eagles were down and they needed that play to try to win the game, then you blame the guy.
Yeah, but he does share in some of the blame, Mike, because if he catches the ball, what happens? If he catches the ball, what happens?
The game's over.
Game's over.
Yes. All right, he didn't catch the ball. The game still should be over. This is my point. The game still should be over, even though he doesn't catch the ball. This is why I don't understand your argument. I don't understand other people's argument. Yeah. They had enough points to win the game.
There's a lot of blame to go around. Some of it is on Saquon. Like I said, Jalen Hurts played a great game, but I don't love that throw at the end of the game, forcing it down the field when you're at the 43 with a timeout, and all you need is a field goal. So, I mean, there's a lot to blame, but for me, defensive personnel takes the cake.
Yes. I swear to God, I have a headache. I really do. I have a headache.
Yeah,
me
care?
Too. Do you care?
Well, it was a late night last night.
No, I have a headache from screaming.
You do?
I have a headache from bucking against this ridiculous logic that Saquon Barkley's drop lost the game. Let's go to Sharif in Philly. Sharif, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Sharif.
Mikey Miss, it's so good to have you back, my brother. It's been a long time, man. I'm glad to hear you back, and good morning to you too, Bill.
Thanks, Sharif. You're a great caller. I loved hearing from you.
Thank you, my brother. Well, listen, let me get right down to business because I know y'all got a lot of calls. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you who I really put this loss on, Mike. I put it mainly on Sirianni, and I'm going to tell you why. The biggest thing last night to me was the fact that they took Atlanta lightly. If you stay aggressive, you go get the points, you take what you could get in the first quarter, even the first drive. I don't even think Barkley touched the ball the first drive. It was like
he touched the ball twice in the first quarter.
No, not the first quarter. The first drive.
Oh, first drive. Okay.
The first drive. I thought the guy was hurt. I was like, well, where is he at? They was throwing the ball to Covey. They was throwing the ball to the backup tight end. I'm like, where is Saquon at? Why are they not getting him involved? And the thing that kind of got me even more pissed off, Mike, was after that Gardner Johnson non-penalty call or whatever the case may be, which in my opinion it should have been a penalty. The camera shot over to Sirianni and he almost like jumped into Gardner Johnson's arms to celebrate.
He did. He rushed down there. Yeah.
It's like 5 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, well, he made a good play. He just took his helmet off. And the people that were in denial of that, I can't. I mean, that's perfectly within his personality to do something stupid like that.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, Mike, I'm just looking and I'm saying it's still more time on the clock. You have not won the game yet. You cannot get lax. And no matter what you think about Kirk Cousins, he's still a veteran in this league. And I've seen him do it in the Redskins uniform, and I've seen him do it in the Vikings uniform, where he will come down and drive and win the game.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I mean, you make a play like that. I don't care that they celebrated. I care that you flaunted the fact that it could have been a penalty in celebrating, but it was a big stop. It jacks you up. I don't have a problem with that.
But the only reason I'm saying that is it's just about the mindset of translating it to the players getting too relaxed. If you look at veteran coaches, when you look at Tomlin, when you look at Andy Reid, if them guys, if they have a turnover or something happens like that, you don't see them jumping for joy.
So you don't like the excitable boy thing,
right? I want you to keep your players focused.
Well, and he supposedly, as the CEO, that was going to stop. Excitable boy, they all said. Well, he's just an excitable boy. Who did that?
I don't know that song.
Warren Zevon. Come on, man.
I don't know the song, man. I got to tell you, though, YouTube chat's all over the place today.
Is it?
I mean, it's some people are against the play call. People are blaming Sirianni, blaming the defense. I mean, there's a lot of anger today, and it's kind of directed at everybody. This is a frustrating day.
They're directed at us, too?
Well, one person did say, Mikey Mush said it was a guaranteed win yesterday.
I didn't say it was a guaranteed win. Well, as far as picking it, listen, come on. You take a shot. I thought the Eagles were going to win that game by more than 5.5. Guess what? They were up 6. Guess what? They were up 6. What did I text you? Here comes the cover.
Yep.
And it was a field goal. Here comes the cover. Bang. End of story. That should be a 6-point win and a cover. Now, you want to blame me for that? Or blame Vic Fangio for messing up and giving me a bad beat?
I keep going back to this. I'm with you on Fangio needing to be more aggressive, but the only reason why he needs to be more aggressive is because they lack the personnel.
Bill, the personnel, as bad as it is, and we've already taken it apart. They can't stop the run. They can't get a rush on the quarterback.
It's a bad recipe right there.
They still had only given up 15 points in the game. 15 points.
But see, I guess you can't have it both ways.
What do you mean?
Fangio only gave up 15 points.
Yeah, but my point is that, okay, so but he gave up 7 at the worst possible time. He gave up 7 when you should button down the game.
But why did they only give up 15 points before that?
I don't know. They got lucky. What do I know?
It's the bend but don't break mentality of the defense.
That's what he does.
They shut things down in the red zone.
That's what he does.
So the same thing applied at that last drive. Not saying I agree with it. But if you had the right personnel on the field, Hassan Reddick gets a sack in that situation. He does.
Oh, here we go.
Bryce Huff does.
We're back to Hassan Reddick.
It's not Reddick.
That's what. Hassan Reddick ain't walking through that door.
It's not Reddick. It's the decision by Howie Roseman to replace Reddick with Bryce Huff and Nolan Smith. That was the mistake.
610-632-0975. We have 2 open lines if you want in. Back after this. Missanelli Show. All right, we're trying to process this. A terrible loss. It's a terrible loss, and I'm going to be kind of miserable for the rest of the show, which I think some people like. They like my misery. But there are a lot of more miserable people than me. On Twitter, I'm reading something from Philly Sports Sufferer. Blue check, by the way. Fire Nick Sirianni. I don't bleeping care. That's a fireable offense. You can't have this team being so bleeping cocky and cute and blowing games like this. He is a, capital letters, loser. Bill, your thoughts?
I'm the dumbest coach in the world.
Listen, you know I've defended Sirianni. Losing 8 of your last 10 is not a good look. Not a good look. And losing in the fashion you lost last night, also not a good look. But when I'm putting the responsibility on people, yeah, Sirianni shares in the blame. There's no doubt about it. He's the head coach. He shares in the blame. But I do think last year, and what I've seen through 2 weeks this year, the defense lacks personnel. And if you want to put all of that on Sirianni, go ahead. But he's not the one signing these players and drafting these players. He deserves blame.
Yeah.
But so does Howie Roseman.
They gave up 15 points prior to that last drive. Oh. The personnel was so terrible that Atlanta just rolled them.
Listen.
Come on, man.
You're going to sit here and make the argument
no, I'm not making,
that the decisions that Howie Roseman made were right?
What I'm making in the argument is that you should be good enough to stop that team from going 70 yards with chunk plays in 40-some seconds. That's what I'm saying.
And you put that on Nick Sirianni?
I put it on the defense and the defensive coordinator for not being able to stop it. What are we talking about? The Air Coryell here? Are we talking about the Dick Vermeil's Rams? Like what are we talking about
right now? You've seen this team now through 2 weeks this year. You saw the way things collapsed last year. Do you think the defensive personnel is good enough to win a championship?
But to compensate for that, they brought in Mr. Wonderful. I brought Mr. Wonderful in. That was the compensation. Well, we're going to be better. This guy knows what he's doing. Okay.
And I said it all summer. I said it again on this show a couple weeks ago. I don't care who your coordinator was last year because the defense wasn't going to be good even if Jim Johnson came back from the dead. And you look at this defense and you have the same damn concerns because Howie Roseman continues to miss in the draft, although I do like the Quinyon Mitchell draft pick.
But Quinyon Mitchell had missed that play last night and then didn't tackle the guy.
But I like that draft.
Okay, all right. He looks like he'll be an okay player.
But you look at the edge rushers.
But not last night. And besides, they got Mr. Take Off My Helmet. This is 2 straight games now where he gave up a big play. All right, so here's the way I love celebrations. When you give up a touchdown the way you did last night, I'm not so sure you should be all gooey with yourself. That's all I'll say on that.
Wait, who are you talking about that was gooey with himself?
C.J. Garner-Johnson.
Yeah.
Celebrate. Jump in the air, do a cartwheel. Guess what? The rules say you can't take your helmet off, and he almost got penalized for that. And I don't care what people say. It was loose.
It was loose.
He took it off. You know his personality. He took it off to celebrate.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
All right, well, that's all I'm saying. And you almost risked the penalty because of that. And you risked the penalty on a day when you gave up a freaking touchdown. I don't have any tolerance for the celebration once you make a terrible mistake. This is why I hate when Slay starts talking about himself, how great he is.
Yeah, who signed Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? Yeah, who brought him back?
All right. Let me get back to Twitter. Brian Baldinger, our pal, Brian Baldinger. NFL Network. Eagles run the same exact play in the fourth quarter. Yes, they did. It was successful. It was the same play as Saquon Barkley. I did not like the decision to throw with 1:46. The clock, the time is the enemy of the Atlanta Falcons. I didn't like the decision last night. So, in one tweet, he's saying they ran the same exact play with success in the fourth quarter, which was a key play for them, but he did not like it with 1:46. You're spitting pasta out of both sides of your mouth here.
I will not stop saying this. Brian Baldinger, John Kincade this morning, every single one of you in the YouTube chat and on Twitter, if Saquon catches that damn ball, you'd be coming on the air today talking about how smart Kellen Moore was. Because did you see how the Falcons loaded the box and then he made that great play call to roll out and throw it to Saquon?
All right, let's hear from Nick again. People that didn't hear Nick's explanation on the 3rd and 3 play call where he says that running would have been too predictable. Here's Nick.
Well, sometimes, yeah, you can't just be every time it's 3rd and 3, say you're going to run it, right? You got to teams obviously pick up on that. If you're every time you're 3rd and 3, you're going to run it. Every time you're and set yourself up for 4th down. So sometimes you got to throw quick. Sometimes you got to run it. Sometimes you got to set yourself up. Sometimes you have 2 opportunities to get it on 3rd and 3 with 2 passes. Sometimes you have the opportunities to get it with runs. So again, we can't just be so predictable that we're going to say, hey, every 3rd and 3, if you're in 4-down mode, that you're going to run the football. That's just not realistic in this league. There's too many good coaches in this league. Hey, it didn't work in this particular one, and I'd like to have those back.
Yeah, all right, but the rationale, his rationale doesn't make sense because what people didn't like to play is because if you run the ball, they're not saying you're going to make a first down even with the run. You run the ball, you take time off the clock, and then you kick the field goal. That's what people are focused on today. So whether the defenses are going to stack the box and they're going to not prevent you from running the ball is really irrelevant to the equation.
Yeah, but again, I keep going back to this, that people are losing sight of. When you roll Jalen out to the right like you did on that 3rd and 3, he's only going to throw it to Saquon if the play is there, and if not, he keeps it and you run the clock out.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying Sirianni's rationale has some flaws in it.
Yeah, but you have people today now, and John this morning, well, you got to factor in that Saquon may drop that pass.
You don't factor that in.
Then you can factor in, well, what if Saquon fumbled the rush?
You believe in your player because you executed the same. Like, why would you not believe in it the second time?
No, it was the right decision.
That's totally overthinking it, saying, well, you see, Abraham's successful first time. He snared it. He caught some balls today. He got 4 balls. No. But this one he's going to drop.
A little bit different because it was a 4th down play. Mm-hmm. But this immediately reminded me of a couple years ago. Andy Reid, Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes get hurt in the playoffs. Chad Henne comes in. It's a 4th and inches in the 4th quarter. They need a first down to win the game. And Andy Reid, the genius, decides to throw a pass from Chad Henne to Tyreek Hill, and everyone touted Andy Reid as being the greatest play caller, and what a genius call. If it didn't work, you would have second-guessed it, but nobody second-guessed it after the fact.
Well, Sirianni doesn't have that clout yet.
But it wasn't Sirianni.
And in fact, no, I'm saying, so you can't apply the same logic to Sirianni. So, but it is fair to ask, is this the guy? Sirianni. Is this the guy? Because now they've lost 8 of their last 10. Rick in Marshville, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Rick.
Good morning, Mr. Missanelli.
Good morning, Rick.
Rick doing an awesome job as a producer. And, Bill, I'm not Italian, man, but I got agita. You definitely give me agita. Were you a prosecuting attorney or a defense attorney?
I did civil work, so I was a plaintiff's attorney. I didn't do criminal stuff.
I didn't even get near the bar, but man, I would shred you in court.
Oh, that's totally disrespectful.
So what am I giving you agita about? What's the problem?
Well, no. It's just I love you because you're all over the place. It's like driving down the street with Mr. Magoo. I love it, but I just for Mike, I'm with you. Our defense, when we apply pressure, the pressure came through. There's no way that they should be able to drive down the field, right? We agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we were also talking about coaching versus scheme, right? Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's Brandon Graham has been with us forever. He doesn't get penalties on a regular basis, but he got that face mask, and that cost us 15 yards.
Yeah.
Right.
Terrible play.
So variables. And the same thing. Sirianni's going to do something, and then I'm going to be able to look back at it and be like, oh, my goodness. You can't sit there and say not be predictable when 4th down, we know it's coming, and no matter what, the scenario or situation. So that's where this kind of reasoning, it's flawed. Because if we had ran the ball, the clock keeps moving. The way that...
If you catch the ball, the clock keeps moving, too.
Wait, I'm still confused where he shredded me, though.
Yeah, I don't know. What is your argument here, Rick?
Well, if you had more sure hands, and there's more sure hands people that we could have relied on scheme wise.
Why?
Why?
He caught 4 passes during the night, including the same pattern. Why would you think they're more reliable in that particular situation when that play's wide open and he's made 4 catches already?
Great question, because they're relying on him too much.
Oh, come on, man. They're relying on him too much.
Man, I had a lot of hopes
so
for
in
that
other words,
call.
that's not giving him the ball 20-plus times because you're relying on him too much. He's successful at that.
How do you start the call? Saying that you would shred me in court and then come with that argument.
See, right away, he gave you the red ass.
I was waiting for a good point that I could respond to.
You didn't like that because of all your dedication going through law school and scraping your knuckles to get through law school with the LSAT to, first of all, to get accepted into law school and then go through all those mundane classes like tax and all that kind of stuff. And then you get out of there with a degree and then you have to study for the bar and you pass the bar. And he had no respect for that, Bill.
No respect. No respect at all. But look, I would take on the argument if he made one. I still have no idea what his point was.
He just didn't like you rubbed them the wrong way.
Big fan of me, though.
Yeah, what the hell, Ray?
He's a big,
very nice.
Big fan of Ray.
Yeah.
And Ray didn't even crack a book open.
I think Ray's texted him. By the way, speaking of Ray.
What? Civil procedure and torts and contract law and tax law, Bill.
Did you see?
No respect for it.
Did you see? And maybe I think this is going to be in the news at noon.
Prosser on torts, Bill.
But heavy set Ray Dunn is going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Heavy set Ray Dunn, Andy Dalton. Yes, he's coming back. Bryce Young looking for an assistant coaching job at Alabama at this point.
What a terrible draft pick that looks like now.
God. Oh, Laura in Rockledge, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Laura.
Hey, Michael.
Hello, Laura.
Bill, Ray, what's going on? So, man, all right, rapid fire here. Jalen Carter jersey. I think that's going to go in the closet for a little while. Bring the Jason Kelsey jersey out. So, why didn't we kick the field goal? Oh, what is it? Analytics, right?
Yeah, so, the analytic edge was with going for it there on fourth and 4.
Let me tell you something. They can take their analytics and put it right up their analytical cavity.
Oh my God, Laura! Whew.
Anyway,
Laura's not happy.
Yeah, Ray, you didn't have to believe that. She's
how much crap I ever saw in my life. Anyway, and if for anybody out there who's blaming Saquon Barkley for this game, you got to be out of your mind. And for John Kincade or anybody to be like, well, you got to factor in that he may drop the ball. Well, why don't you just prepare for the whole game, factoring in that you may lose?
What I mean. Why do you have to factor that in? Well, there's no reason why you have to factor that in.
Dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. Absolutely dumbest thing I ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. C.J. Gardner, can we duct tape that helmet on his head, if nothing else, to contain that ego, maybe? And
he's got an ego. There's no question.
Oh my Lanta! And as much as the defense may lack personnel, Bill, I mean, if you want to go blaming Howie Roseman for personnel, maybe you can blame him for bringing back Nick Sirianni. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Ooh.
Why, though? Why is Howie Roseman so immune to criticism?
He should not be immune because, let's face it, when you're looking at his edge rushers coming into this year, he's basically crossing his fingers. He's guessing. There's no reason to bring Brandon Graham back. All due respect, I don't get into the nostalgia thing. He's not going to help you enough where he's going to take a main spot and get more than 50% of the snaps. Nolan Smith showed you 0. You made a grab at Huff, crossing your fingers that it was going to work out. It hasn't worked out so far. And Josh Sweat, you didn't see enough last year? Hey, that's who you come in with? That's where I will agree with you, Bill.
Yeah, they made the decision because both Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick wanted new contracts. They made the decision to restructure Josh Sweat and to trade Hassan Reddick. You picked Sweat over Reddick. Now, Reddick obviously wanted a lot more money, but what we've seen from Josh Sweat over the years is he disappears for extended periods of time.
No, they're not adequate enough. And if they thought they were, I don't believe they thought they were. I think they were crossing their fingers that they were. You can't operate in this league crossing your fingers. Now, I know Brandon Graham is a happy man, and everybody loves him, and he gives you good personality and a whole bit. The bottom line is they had to move away from Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, both of them. And they got nostalgic about it, and he's not going to help you. He's not going to help you. Okay, you feel better that he's on the team? Maybe you do. If I had other rushers that I could rely on, then I could carry Brandon Graham.
Yeah, Brandon Graham would be fine as your fourth or fifth option, but when you're relying on him, he actually played more snaps than Nolan Smith.
I know he did. And you can't. All right.
The PFF grades.
It's funny. They didn't have nostalgia when it came to Brian Dawkins. They had nostalgia when they 35-year-old defensive end.
Well, that was Joe Banner, wasn't it?
I know. All right, let's get David in here. David, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, Mike, how are you today?
What's up, David?
Mike, I'm not going to talk about the defense. They're atrocious. Sirianni's always been a little too high school for me. But let's talk about the guy who handles the ball in every offensive play, and that's Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've listened to you for a long time, and you've said, trust your eyes. You got to trust your eyes with this guy. I mean, this is who he is. This is as good as he's going to get. He's a great athlete. He's going to make a couple of great plays a game, mostly with his legs. But I've liked his long ball. I think his decision-making has regressed in each of the past 2 years.
He held on to the ball a lot last night, trying to find somebody. But listen, he wasn't the reason they lost the game. He wasn't. That interception at the end pulled his ratings down. But he threw for 183, and he rushed for 85 more. I mean, that's a pretty decent offensive output.
Decent, right? He's a decent quarterback. But Mike, that last play, that last interception, that was a bad decision. You only need 10,
is
15 yards.
I agree.
You know?
That is a bad decision.
And Mike, look, Cousins is not great, but what he does, he puts zip on the ball. With Jalen, his 15, 20-yard throws are pretty good. Anything longer than that, it looks like a rainbow. That last ball was in the air for 30 minutes, right? The same interception against Green Bay. Over the middle, he's got too much air under it. I got to question his arm strength at times for those longer throws.
Oh, listen, A.J. Brown is his life preserver. They can always rely on Lant to get yards for a first down. He wasn't there last night. They didn't have that. But that's why I think you got to utilize the tight end a little more. And you targeted Dallas Goedert 4 times.
I totally agree, 100%. I don't know where they were last night. But he's got to think the game through a little bit more.
All right, that's fair. But like last night, he wasn't the reason why they lost. I get the bad. That's desperation time, and you're now trying to get back up the field after your defense gives up the lead. He did enough to win that game last night.
He did do enough, and I'm not blaming him. And the Pro Football Focus grades came out. So we thought the Falcons were probably going to blitz Jalen more than what the Green Bay Packers did last week, and they did. They actually blitzed him 46% of his dropbacks last night, and he went 10 of 13 when blitzed. Unfortunately, though, that interception that the caller was just talking about at the end of the game, there was a blitz on that play, and he tried to force it downfield.
There were a lot of plays that they didn't blitz where he had plenty of time to throw the ball, and he kind of looked around, and he moved this way and that way, and there was nobody open. I don't know if there was somebody open or not. You have to see the all-22. But there's where A.J. Brown opens the field a little more for him. He needs A.J. Brown on the field, obviously, right?
I think you could say that about pretty much every quarterback in the NFL. Maybe not named Patrick Mahomes.
Especially for Jalen Hurts. He needs him because that play is unstoppable. When he has to go to it, it's unstoppable, that slant. 610-632-0975. We're going to take a breath here. You can climb in because we're going to be busy all day today talking about this game. The news at noon is coming your way after this. This is sponsored by Rand Spear, the accident lawyer. We'll get back to the phones. You can join in at 610-622-0975. But right now, it is time for the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, let's check it out. News at noon, brought to you by Mr. Ray Dunn, who has spanned the globe for some interesting little tidbits that have nothing to do maybe with last night's game, or maybe they do.
Yeah.
What do you got, Ray?
We'll get to that at the end here. We got a couple of liars first, or people maybe not telling the complete truth. Biggest news, general NFL world yesterday was the fact that the Panthers decided, hey, that guy we spent the top pick on just about 2 years ago, he's not it. We're going to go with Andy Dalton to start week 3. Dave Canales talked about this at a presser, talked about his security with Bryce Young at a presser following the game. So I'll first play that for you, and then the tone will quickly change.
Bryce is our quarterback. I'd love to see this thing just continue to take the next steps offensively right now. Bryce is our quarterback. We're going to just continue to shore up and fix the things we need to fundamentally from a scheme standpoint, all those things. These are all valuable reps. These are all valuable games. We'll learn a lot from this game, and hopefully we'll take another step this week.
Now, of course, that was after the game where Bryce is your quarterback. Coach speak is what it is, okay? He's your quarterback. You turn on the tape, you realize you need to make a change. I think you knew you needed to make a change probably watching him over the first 2 games. But this is what he said when he was asked if owner David Tepper had anything to do with the decision.
I want to keep that private. What I would like to say, though, is this is something after I watched the film, I looked at it, had a thought, started working on and talking to the guys that we make decisions with. Certainly a lot of parties involved there. And ultimately this comes on me, and my number one responsibility is to help the Panthers win. And so this move, I believe, puts us in the best chance to do that this week.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to keep that private. Yeah, that could very easily be answered with a no, but he wanted to keep it quiet. And there's no question that David Tepper's, he's got a red ass. So I'm sure that he yelled it like he Ed Snydered him.
I know there's only 32 NFL head coaching jobs, so you take what you can get. You don't want to be the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, man. Dave Tepper is the worst owner by far, especially now that Snyder's out in Washington. Look at all the head coaches that he's already had. Yeah. Ron Rivera, Perry Felwell, Matt Rule, Steve Wilkes, Frank Reich, Chris Tabor, now Canales. Tepper is terrible.
Well, if you're Canales, you're not going to turn it down, though. There's a chance to be a head coach.
Yeah, but he won't be there long. Not with that owner.
Well, he took a shot.
I'm pretty sure I saw a sign from somewhere down there in North Carolina that had Rule 3-0, Baker 2-0, Darnold 2-0. Like, it was just listing off pretty much everything. It just had Tepper 0-2. But we'll continue on here to Nebraska, where we have Dylan Raiola just flatline. Like, this is the biggest lie I've ever seen. Their quarterback, if you've seen it, this is the Mahomes lookalike that's taken over college football. He was asked about it, about how his hair looks like Mahomes, how he kind of likens himself to Mahomes, and he just flatlined everyone.
A lot of people think I try to be just like him, but honestly, I grew up, I played baseball, never liked football. As a kid, I always wore glasses. I've had this haircut since 6th, 7th grade maybe, and I didn't really know about Mahomes then, and I mean, I have my own little kick to it, so, I mean, it's not completely like him, but I guess if that's what people want to say, that guy's one of the best, so it's cool, but I just try to do mimic my game after, myself, but it also, if you're trying to get to where you want to get to, you have to see and know what it takes to get there, and I think he's done more than enough to see what it takes, and so... it's just learning football, but...
Long, rambling way of saying I'm not trying to be like Patrick Mahomes, except the timeline he lays out there for his hair. When he got his hair there at 6th, 7th grade, that would be when Mahomes won his first MVP. That would be when he was taking over the NFL by storm. Are we sure you were that big into baseball that you just totally missed?
What the hell? Embrace it.
Right.
Yeah. This kid, I originally thought he was Italian. I go, wow, Italian quarterback. All the Italians are going to celebrate him like Joe DiMaggio. But as it turns out, he's Polynesian.
And it's not just the way he looks that's like Mahomes. Every single thing he does. Did you see his pregame routines?
He's running up and down the field like he's Mahomes.
Yeah.
Just flat-lined us.
Yeah.
Come on.
His father was a former NFL player. Dominic Raiola. I guess he was an offensive lineman.
Gotcha. I don't remember.
Also Nebraska?
Yeah, he went to Nebraska.
Yeah, I thought that was
That's why the kid
connection.
flipped. He was supposed to go to Georgia at first.
Well, the Nebraska uniform looks a lot like the Chiefs, so we can't rule out that maybe he just liked the uniform color
He's
there.
a good player. He's a pro. The kid's a pro.
Oh, he's good.
He throws a nice ball.
If he starts sounding like Kermit the Frog in these press conferences, then we know.
All right. I'm going to take you back to last night for our final thing here at the News at Noon. 2 different clips from last night. First, Scott Van Pelt. They cut to him inside of 2 minutes left in the game. SVP Sports Center coming up. Let's tease what you're going to get into.
We're going to visit with Joe and Troy, show you the key moments of this game and take you inside the winning locker room, which appears it will be the home team. We'll see you when this one is done. Joe, Troy, back to you.
Damn you, Scott Van Pelt.
Yeah, there it is. Food for the jinx people in the Delaware. I get this all the time. I tweeted out, well, there's the cover, which at the time was the cover, and all of a sudden I get pasted that I jinxed them somehow.
You did, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
It's all on you.
Yeah. You know what? The people that give me that, the people that give me the Mikey Mush get an instant block. They don't even know it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm tired of it.
Do you know how many people have reached out to me since we started this show saying, please get Mike to not block me anymore? Get him to unblock me.
I make it clear. If you're going to insult me by doing them, if you're not going to compliment me when I give you tremendous value on my selections, and you're gonna throw a Mikey Mush at me, you're out. I got a little tolerance for it anymore at this stage of my life.
I will say, since we started this show, your picks, you've gotten them a lot more correct than incorrect.
I get no accolades for it. Nothing. And I go, okay, I'll be humble about that, but then don't Mikey Mush me.
Yeah, Dom in our YouTube chat's been going at you all day about that.
Of course. All right, whatever.
Should I block him?
Yeah.
Dom, you're getting blocked.
Wait, there's a jinx. This is why I don't believe in jinxes. I don't believe in ghosts. All right? I give you my honest opinion at the time. Timeline.
Let's give you 3 quarterbacks responding to that 3rd and 3 play.
All right.
Well, they all play. No! Oh! Ooh. Oh. Wow. Ooh. They had it. He listened. Jalen watched what Matt Ryan said. He said, I'm running that play again. I'm going to give him the perfect throw, front shoulder, like Matt said, get it out in front. Wow.
That's why you don't throw, though.
I mean,
that's why you don't throw.
It is why you don't throw, but, it was a perfect call.
How about some more analysis except the wows? You know? I heard 80 wows and a couple chuckles.
What do we got? Peyton, Eli, and Matt Ryan? Is that who's on that?
I mean, they reacted in real time, but tell them, wow, it's a good call. All right.
Pretty ripe to have Matt Ryan break it down a late game collapse.
Yeah, I don't watch any of that Manning cast.
Yeah, it doesn't do it for me.
All right. That'll do it for News at Noon today. So let's go back to the phones. And no, let's not go back to the phones. Mike and Yarley, you're going to be next, right? Because Mike is going to say they had to run the ball at the end of the game.
We're getting a lot of that.
It's just a low-hanging, rotted plum that people are picking. But they had to run the ball at the end of the game. But I get it. I'll hear you out. You tell me why it was so special, like after the fact, that they should have run the ball. It is Mike Missanelli Show, 610-632-0975. There's one line open. You can grab it back after this.
Last night, the Eagles
97.5, The Fanatic. It's a bitter day. I've calmed down a little bit, but I'm going to revamp it up here. I am stunned by the fact that the defense can allow that to happen. I really am. It's just, this is a professional football team. This is a professional defensive coordinator. They don't have any answers for a team that doesn't have timeouts to get chunk plays down the field, to get them in the end zone within a blink. I still can't process it as I'm watching that game. And I'm going, oh, man, that's he dropped it. They're up 6. They're good. And then, boom! It's phenomenal. All right, let's go to Mike and Yardley. Mike, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Mike.
Hey, guys. Bill, Ray, Mike. I agree with you on that, Mike, because we should have been good at the end of the game being up 6 and in that situation. But wouldn't you have felt even better if they had to drive the whole field starting from the 5-yard line?
Like, they weren't going to drive the whole field. They were going to kick the field goal anyway.
Well, Mike's saying they should have gone for it. You wanted them to go for it on 4th, too?
They weren't going to go for it. They wanted to get up by where the other team had to score a touchdown.
So why throw the ball?
Because it's like a running play. And it's not something the defense. Yes, it is. It's a 4-yard pass. But Andy Reid used to do this all the time. He used to say, those little passes are just like a run. How do you forget that, Mike? It's like a run. It's a pass in the flat. It's a 4-yard pass that's wide open.
I would rather them kneel the ball right there.
Why? Why? If you get the first down, the game's over. You have to get a play where you get the first down or you kick a field goal.
The number one thing you need to do is kill the clock. You're
killing the clock with that play.
No,
yes, you are. It's a safe play to just catch. It's like a run.
Mike, if Saquon bobbled it and he still caught it, he could have ran out of bounds on the way.
He wasn't going to run out of bounds. He's too smart for that. Come on, dude. It's such an easy call. You're not giving it thought.
It also wouldn't have mattered.
It's like a lot of
no, you're not. It's a low-hanging fruit play that you're looking at after the fact.
No. I will say this 100% of the time. I would rather lose the game going for it, running the ball.
Oh, that's stupid, and that's why you got to. That's a stupid call. When I get stupidity like that, you're out.
Also,
I'd rather lose the game than. What kind of sense does that make?
But also, here's what I don't understand. I'd rather lose the game going for it. Well, that's going for it right there.
What are you talking about? You'd rather lose the game going for it. You orchestrate the game to win the game. That's a play that's akin to a running play that should be a safe play.
And even if, I agree with you, Saquon's not going out of bounds there, but even if his momentum takes him out of bounds, it's a first down. They have no timeouts left. You can go kneel, game over.
It is. I swear to God, it's mind-boggling to me that's the play they look at. Even though that play still gives them a 6-point lead. That play turned into a 6-point lead, and that's the play that caused them to lose. You people better get your head screwed on straight. It's like Mr. Potato Head. You're missing some parts. Victor and Camden, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Victor.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
What's going on, Vic?
Yeah, good to have you back, man.
Thank you, buddy.
No, so this was my main question about Hurts, because for 2 years I've been saying I don't really think he's the guy due to his arm strength and how he maneuvers the field. So the thing was, when we first got Nick Sirianni, he forced him to play quarterback rather than try to run all day. Let's make you throw real quick, and he was failing. So we did RPO scheme. He did real good, then it started failing a little bit. My question before we got Kellen Moore was, how is he going to hold up to other offenses when we have Kellen Moore who's going to make him pass, and when he passed the pass, he fails, looking like how he did for the past 2 games and last year. So how is he going to look with Kellen Moore's offense when he's forced to throw? Is he going to still throw in double coverage like he usually does? So the thing is, what's he going to be able to keep up when our defense looks like this? Is what I'm trying to say. Like, can he be forced to throw the ball?
Listen, the Falcons had 15 points on the board, okay? They had 15 points on the board before that last drive. So I get what you're saying. You're worried about Jalen Hurts. But last night was, except for that interception at the end, which was misguided, he played well enough to win the game.
No, so my thing is, he's been playing the same way for 3 years, which is, yeah, you give us flashes of good throws, just like David called previously. He had a real good call, which is he has flashes of good throws, but when he gets farther downfield, 35, 40 yards, when he has to pass, it's in. So when he's basically running side to side, he's cutting half the field off his visual. He's throwing in double coverage, or if nobody's open, I'm just going to run.
Yeah, well, listen, that's a fair criticism, except last night, he took what they gave him, and those design runs are a dynamic that not a lot of other teams have. So if you have to win it with him doing that, I'm good with that. And A.J. Brown wasn't on the field, so a lot of what you're saying was curtailed by the fact that that other option wasn't there.
No, so the thing is, for the Packers game, did you notice how he forced him to get downfield and it was fluking, so he made him throw easier throws closer, so if we don't have that, we could just continue to run.
Yeah.
My thing is, he's not keeping. I don't really think he's going to be able to keep up score-wise when he's allowing these defenses to come out, stop us, tire our defense out.
You might be right. I don't know. I mean, you might be right. They have not employed Dotson yet as a weapon. They have not utilized the tight end as much as they should, in my opinion. But again, and A.J. Brown's going to be out a couple weeks, looks like. So, I don't know.
But the issue I have with that caller is, yeah, again, against Green Bay week 1, Hurts made some bad decisions with the football that resulted in 2 interceptions, but they still put up 34 points. They put up a lot of points. They moved the ball. I said this yesterday about the game against the Falcons, that it was going to be closer than people were thinking because the Falcons' defense is good. People aren't giving any credit to the fact that the Falcons have a good defense. They finished top 8 in the NFL last year, giving up only 200 passing yards a game. They held the Steelers to 133 passing yards, and you went into that game without A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts did what he had to do to win the game. He carried the ball 13 times for 85 yards. A lot of the pass plays weren't there. Outside of his last interception, that was really the only decision I disagreed with that Jalen made. He tried to push it down the field because he was desperate at that time. But this game isn't on Jalen, man.
No, it's not on Jalen. And again, the Eagles had a cover. Less than a minute to go, they had a cover in this game. As good as the Falcons are, the Eagles still were going to walk away with a 6-point win in this game. Now, I like the fact that Kellen Moore is using motion. He did it early, and then they didn't go back to this. Remember, the second drive, they had Dotson in motion, and they gave it to Barkley off of that. And then they came back with the same play, and they hit Dotson on that play with the motion. And I'm going, okay, yeah. I like that. I haven't seen that.
Creative.
It is creative, and you're giving the defense a look that they haven't really seen with the Eagles before. I don't know why they didn't come back with that kind of motion.
Yeah, I mean, you got to ask Kellen Moore. I don't know what his thought process was there, but it also seemed to me like maybe Dotson's not 100% up to speed here with this offense.
Here's another thing we got to look at. We haven't even mentioned. And this falls on coaching. How many penalties did they have with an eligible man downfield?
Yeah, there was a couple. I think 9 total penalties.
You can't have that not buttoned down. That's absurd. I think they had 3 penalties. I mean, well-coached teams, you don't do that.
Well, you're not wrong.
610-632-0975. Back after this. Show 97.5, The Fanatic. Bill and I just made a coffee run. First of all, we get in there and we get questioned. What are you doing down here? Oh, well, this is where the coffee pots are. Well, isn't there a Keurig in your pot? Mikey Miss doesn't roll Keurig.
Yeah, I can't do it
when
either.
it comes to coffee. Mikey Miss barely rolls with the coffee they make from the grounds down there, because if somebody doesn't make it right, you get weak coffee.
And this is very watery coffee.
It's like the Three Stooges when they try to make chicken soup, where they put boiled water through a chicken cavity. Cackle soup. You don't remember that, do you?
I don't. I don't even know if Ray knows who the Three Stooges are.
The Three Stooges are.
Ray thinks we're talking about Sirianni, Moore, and Fangio.
After last night, why not?
But anyway, Bill goes, I got to get my coffee every day at Starbucks. And I go, why don't you make the coffee? He goes, I don't have time. I go, well, there's a new invention. It's called a coffee maker has a timer. You can program it. When you put the coffee grounds in there, by the time you get up, it's right there, nice for you.
You know what else I don't like about making it at home? Because if you're taking it to go, you got to bring your own coffee tumbler or whatever. Then you got to clean it at the end of the day. I'd rather just stop and grab it.
Clean it. You put the hot water on it, you rinse it out. You take the coffee grounds out, you dump it in the trash.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's arduous. It's like building a wall with mortar.
It's a lot of work.
I'm going to give people a coffee tip here. I buy only 3 types of coffee, but I always have the coffee in the house because I love a fresh pot of coffee in the morning. Well, I only make that for me. But you go to the store,
sometimes,
and you get whatever is on sale amongst Pete's out there from Berkeley, California, Starbucks, or I'm going to give people a little bit of a tip here. There's a coffee called Seattle's Best, which is the same quality as Pete's, and it's always a couple dollars less expensive than Pete's or Starbucks.
See, when I do make it for myself, I go Illy. You ever have the Illy coffee?
Yeah, Illy, it doesn't rate.
Oh, it's good.
Nah, it's all right.
And you can get it on sale sometimes at Target.
The Italian coffee comes in a can. I know. I've had it.
Now, do you keep your coffee in the refrigerator?
No. That you killed, but you don't know anything about coffee.
What?
You kill the beans when you put it in the refrigerator. How do you put it in the refrigerator? Who told you that?
Are you freshly grinding your coffee every morning?
Sometimes I am, but even if you're not, you don't put it in the refrigerator.
See, I put the Illy in the fridge. Am I messing up?
Your coffee. You're killing your coffee.
Are you sure about this?
You don't put your coffee in the refrigerator. You're killing it.
I thought that I was doing a good thing.
Don't mess me with coffee. What would make you think that's a good thing?
Hold on. I'm looking this up.
Yeah, you don't put coffee in the refrigerator.
Wow, the fridge is not the place to store coffee in any form, ground or whole
I know
bean.
this.
You have to go through the Mike Missanelli life.
It isn't
book.
cold enough to keep your coffee fresh, and because coffee works as a deodorizer, it will absorb the aromas in your fridge.
How did you not know that?
Yo,
what kind of a coffee novice are you? How long have you been drinking coffee?
I want to tell my wife right now, B, if you're listening, take the damn coffee out of the fridge immediately.
It's too late now.
We're going to have to buy new coffee.
That's just a
No wonder I don't like making it myself in the morning.
Of course you don't. You're making bland coffee.
What the hell am I doing all these years?
Taking the essence out of the ground beans.
Who cares about the Eagles game? I got bigger problems right now.
You got to respect coffee. You don't respect coffee.
I'm getting killed. People are asking what kind of Italian I am on the YouTube chat.
Jesus. Unbelievable.
Mikey Barista, someone said.
That's pretty good.
I can't make a coffee. I don't have enough time. Yeah.
I got a lot of problems now.
What kind of coffee makers do you buy? Like from the 50s?
No, mine has a timer. I just could never figure it out.
You could never figure it out. There's an instruction book. Press this button, press that button.
I did drop a bunch of cash on one of those really nice, like, latte makers and all.
Nespresso?
Yeah.
One of those? Yeah.
Sometimes I go French press.
Who, you Dexter?
I got a French press. Sometimes I'll do that with because the coffee makers don't get the hot water at the optimum temperature for the coffee. So when you boil the water, you get it at a certain temperature. Then you use a fresh press. You got the essence then of coffee.
See, I get PTSD when I see a French press now. I went to a restaurant in the city a couple years ago. I went to push down the French press after you wait the appropriate amount of time.
You screwed up?
Well, there was a little bit of pressure.
Uh-huh.
I continued to push. It exploded on me. I burned my chest so badly. I'll show you pictures.
You didn't turn the knob that puts it in screen mode where it would come through.
I pushed too hard.
You don't push too hard.
I thought, I'm going to use my strength.
You didn't have the screen on right. You got to twist the dial so the screen is on.
So I had coffee all over me. I'm burning. My chest is burning. And all they did was bring me over a dirty dish rag. from the restaurant. I want to be like, help me a little bit more. I'm dying over here.
You got to get cold water on that right away. Ruin a shirt. Rich in Jersey. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Rich.
Hey, Mike. How are you?
What's up, Rich?
I'm so mad at at our defense right now. It seems like we were left off where we left off last year with defense. Like you said, how do you let Kirk Cousins drive down the field like that?
You got to listen. The game is won. That's why there's a 98% chance that you don't lose that game.
I know. I couldn't believe it because I was at work listening to the game on the radio, and I was so mad. And also, I think it's time to say goodbye to Sirianni. I mean,
Sirianni?
Yeah, or whatever his name is now. I don't even care. That's how much. I think it's time to fire our coach because we could have went for a field goal and during the half.
Mike Missanelli would not have brought him back.
Yeah,
Sirianni.
Let me ask you one question, though. Let me ask you one question.
Yeah.
And Sirianni should share in the blame. I agree. But you started the call saying that you're frustrated with the defense, that the pass rush is non-existent and all that.
Yeah.
And as much as I think Sirianni should share in the blame, how is that on Sirianni? How is the defensive personnel on Sirianni?
No, you're right. And I think we're losing Sunday, too.
Well, that's a game now in question, especially coming off a loss. Well, I had that as a dub. I had this one as a dub. I had the next one as a dub. Apparently, that's
But you're still sitting where you thought they would be after 2 weeks because you thought they would lose to Green Bay, and that they would beat Atlanta.
But now I didn't see 1 and 2.
No, I had them at 2-1. I thought they were going to lose in New Orleans. I got to rethink that now, coming off of the loss.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I can't go over this last drive again. Kyle Pitts it was his first catch on the day. Kyle Pitts finally showed up. He got 11. Right, he rushes up to get back to the line of scrimmage a whole bit. And here it is, 1st and 10 to 41. He goes 20 for 21 to Mooney. See, this is the play that I go, how do? You can't give him that chunk. On the second play they run, you give them 21. Now they've gone 32 yards in 2 plays in like 20 seconds.
It's unacceptable, man.
And then the next play it goes for 26. Okay, just let them go down the field. Why are you even on the field? Just let them scrimmage.
It's unacceptable. But look what Seattle did last year when they drove down the field with Drew Lock.
Same thing.
Right?
Yeah,
Same thing.
Drew Lock bounced them.
Who was the defensive coordinator then? It was Matt Patricia. Who was the defensive coordinator before they fired him? It was Sean Desai. Now they bring in the Godfather, Vic Fangio. It's still not working.
The hell was Patricia doing in the house last night, by the way?
He was with Belichick. Belichick was there with his new, I think he was there with Manningcast, wasn't he?
He was just hanging out with Belichick?
You can do the Manningcast from anywhere.
Yeah, but Belichick was there with the media company he works for, and
3013?
Patricia, 3013, and Patricia works with him. And that's why he was on the sideline.
Already working together again. Interesting.
That's his buddy.
Yeah.
Ish in Levittown. What's up, Ish?
I'm Mike. How are you?
How you doing, Ish?
Not so good. I left work early due to the Eagles' loss.
Oh, you were that upset?
Yeah, I just have to point out a few things. I agree with Bill. I think this is all on Howie Roseman and the defense. If we can't get a pass rush, then I fear the season may be lost already. Bryce Huff is a bust. I can see it already. We shouldn't have gave away Hassan Reddick. But my thing about Howie Roseman is he should have been fired when he picked Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson.
Well, he's made other good moves other than that to make up for it.
Yeah, to try to make up for it, but like Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, and Nakobe Dean, I just don't see where this is all going. I'm confused. I've never seen anything like.
He got really caught up in this SEC thing, especially Georgia, and maybe that doesn't translate. I don't know. They look like they were pretty good picks at the time.
Yeah, but it's not a college team though.
I know. Sometimes you can't tell. Like, those guys are very successful with a good program, playing against good competition. I mean, that's probably enough information that you would convince you that it was a good selection. But they have to hold up their end now.
Okay, but my thing is just two quick points. Jalen Carter, I still think is good. but you picked Jordan Davis over Kyle Hamilton. Why is it? I don't understand.
Well, the safeties were low on their totem pole.
Yeah, but at the time, safety was a need on this football team.
Yeah, but
when he took Jordan Davis.
But when has he ever taken a safety that high?
No, they like to go D tackles.
Yeah.
But look, it's not just the draft picks, Mike.
That's his philosophy. Now, I may be wrong. Maybe, that would have been a nice selection. I don't know.
But it's not just the draft pick misses. It's the free agent signings 2 years in a row now. The decisions he made last year with his free agent signings, I've given you these names before. Greedy Williams, Justin Evans, Terrell Edmonds, Nick Morrow, Contavious Street, Zach Cunningham, Miles Jack, Josiah Scott, Shaq Leonard. They didn't give you anything.
They're all fringe. They're all fringe guys.
And then this year, free agents. Zach Bond, I'm giving that one to Fangio. Other than that, it's Devin White. It's Bryce Huff. It's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. What are you getting from these guys? And you add that in with the draft pick misses, and this is what you get, a subpar defense.
Rob on a cell. What's up, Rob?
Hey, can you hear me?
I got you, buddy.
All right. Hey, welcome back, man.
Thank you,
I've been a long time listener, so hold on. My navigation. All right. So I'm in Milwaukee. Came down to see my son and watched the Phillies game in person. That wasn't that great. Caught the Phillies game too. Did you hear? Can I still hear you?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, we got to keep going.
So after that, I caught the Eagles game. I'm just thinking we was blaming the wrong people. You ever think the development is the problem? Maybe it's not just the draft picks. It's the development of these draft picks. Because Derek Barnett is looking like a stud. And I hate to say it. He looks like a stud in Houston. But, maybe it's our development of these players. And I'm not a fan of the big Fangio scheme.
Listen, who knows? It's too early on Fangio, but he hasn't had good years. It's not like he is a foolproof defensive coordinator. And last night I didn't like what I saw.
I didn't like what I saw either, but I just don't think, I just got one thing before you let me go, because I know you got to go. I don't think it's going to work with this Nick Sirianni thing. That press conference last night, you ever had somebody take a position from you or an office or anything, and you're just waiting for them to fail so you can say, hey, it felt that way last night in that interview when he was getting snarky.
Yeah,
it kind of felt like he was kind of like, I've been waiting for this moment. I'm not saying he's hoping that you fail. I'm not saying that. If you've been in this position before, you're not hoping that you fail, but you're just hoping I can have that one moment or a couple moments when I can look at you and go,
Yeah, no, I hear you. So he was in Milwaukee watching the Phillies. We haven't even mentioned the Phillies. They lost 6-2 last night. Ranger Suarez lasted 5 innings through 104 pitches in 5. Now, it wasn't that bad. He gave up 4 hits. He gave up 3 runs. And
wasn't that great.
Aaron Savali, believe it or not, the acquisition.
Proving my case.
Yeah.
Proving my case,
Aaron
Mike.
Savali last 5 innings also, but he only gave up a run. And then Hobie Milder comes in and shuts the Phils down. I was going back and forth with that game. They need to win. Tonight's almost a must-win with Wheeler, to be honest with you. But let's hear more of Sirianni. Sirianni's greatest hits. Let's hear Sirianni go through the general coach speak of number 3, Ray.
They made a couple more plays than we did down the stretch. We made some plays. They made more. That's on all of us. That starts with coaching and goes to the players. We're all responsible for the loss. That's how close games are in this league, right? To 22-21. Sometimes it just comes down to a couple plays, but it's never just one play. It's never just that play because all the plays equal up to the win or to the loss.
Yeah, well, I don't see that's coach speak, and I get that that's an easy answer to give. And he's talking about the one play being the Barkley muff, but that doesn't explain how you can allow a team to go that many yards in that little time. So that's what it comes down to for me. It came down to that, where your team failed and your defensive coordinator failed and your players failed because you didn't put them in the proper position to stop what I think is a ridiculously full drive that should never happen. Should never happen. Yeah. I don't care what people tell me. You should not be able to go with that team in no timeouts. You should not be able to go 70 yards down the field to score that easy of a touchdown.
Yeah, that's why the majority of this has to be on the defense. The offense did enough. Jalen Hurts did enough to win this football game. Yeah, you would have loved to have seen Saquon catch that ball, game over. But you're right. You can't allow Kirk Cousins and an inept Falcons offense that had done pretty much nothing all night go down the field that quickly.
I get it. You can't stop the run. Your pass rush stinks. You still had a 6-point lead with less than a minute. Yeah. I just can't even get that out. I really can't. It's like this. Bad teams do that. This is not. Is this supposed to be a bad team? Like, this is a crap teams in the league would allow that to happen. Not this team.
You're right. And this is where I am going to blame Sirianni. And I've defended him. But when you look at being 2-8 in your last 10, bad teams find ways to lose football games. Good teams find ways to win football games, and that does start at the top.
Is this a precursor? Is this a bad football team? Is this what the reality? What happened last night? That the pronouncement is that this is a bad football team that could lose a game like that?
Well, we're going to find out, because you look at this Eagles football team under Sirianni, the only time they've really hit adversity was last year when the 49ers punched him in the mouth. They never recovered. Well, you're hitting adversity early this year. Week 2, how do they respond? That's going to dictate Sirianni's future.
Against all of a sudden a pretty good team.
Whew. Short week on the road.
Short week. They go 1-2. Oh. Anthony in South Jersey. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Ant.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
What's up, buddy?
No, I just want to talk a little bit. I hate the diss on Hurts constantly. I just hate it because last night before the interception, the guy had 6 incompletions. I think his QBR was like 100%, 84 rushing yards, a balanced attack as a quarterback. And to the fans, as if he runs too much or he doesn't run enough. And then that interception, yeah, that's on him, but he should not be in that position at the end of the day. The defense does not hold, so he's in a position to have to throw that.
I agree totally.
Yeah.
He did enough to win a game last night, okay? He did.
Yeah, I mean, compared to the Packers game, I mean, no turnovers besides the interception. Again, and the whole thing with running the ball with Saquon, I'm making that pass 100% of the time because you look at, I don't care if anyone says he drops balls, this and that. Look at the catch he made in the Packers game. He's your best player on the field at that time. I'm putting the ball, you're talking me young age, the ball goes into the best player's hands. I don't care what anybody thinks. You don't run the ball there because, again, you get the first down, it's over, he goes out of bounds, you kneel it. Who cares?
You know, if he catches the ball, what would people be saying today? Wow, what a gutsy call. This is a good team. That's a team that wanted to win the game instead of not losing it. That's what they would have been saying today.
You just don't go prevent defense. You have to send pressure. You have to buckle down. You have to strap as a cornerback. The defense lost the game at the end of the day. It's the scheme. That's it. It's not Jalen. It's not Saquon. I mean, coaching, yeah, he kicked the field goal, but the defense at the end of the game lost that game.
Anthony, I agree 100% with you. So he's taking the onus off of Jalen, which I would too. But I want to hear from Jalen. I want to hear from quarterback AI. So can we play? Let's play Jalen Hurts 3, Ray.
Obviously, he's one of the best receivers in the league.
A.J. Brown.
Of course. He's definitely missed, but it doesn't change the trust that I have in everybody else to step up. And I think we had, guys step up in a big way. Covey made some great plays out there. Smitty made plays. We just didn't meet the moment in terms of, it wasn't for us tonight.
It wasn't for us. It wasn't for us tonight. So now let me follow up with 4 because I want this is the motivational AI, Jalen.
Keep pressing forward. Keep your head up. At the end of the day, we have to intensely control the controllables. And I think when I look at this game, there are a lot of things that we
all right, that's all I wanted to hear.
Control the controllables, Mike.
Control the controllables.
Poetic.
Oh, boy. 610-632-0975. This is a fast show today, and we appreciate everybody participating, and we'll get to everybody after this. Real. They didn't lose the game because it was a bad call on 3rd and 3 and Saquon dropped the ball. Now, that would have locked up the game, but they lost because Vic Fangio's defense allowed the Atlanta Falcons to boat race down the field with no aggression on defense, no pressure on the quarterback, no coverage down the field, soft as Charmin, and the Falcons get down the field to win the game. They snatch the feet right out of victory. I've never seen anything like it.
Mike and Bill have been pleading their cases.
Come at me all the time when I ridicule the greatest general manager to ever exist, Howie Roseman. He's a good GM, but he has failed the personnel on this defense 2 years in a row now. You look at his acquisitions. Bryce Huff. I don't even want to use his first name anymore because I don't want to bring bad mojo to Bryce, who's going Red October shortly. But Huff can't do anything. The pass rush is non-existent.
This is the thing. Nobody can argue the fact that they have terrible edge rushers. And that's lays at the feet of Howie Rose. Bryce Huff looks lost. Nolan Smith looks like a bad pick. And Josh Sweat, like, what's the need to bring him back? I mean, come on, you're making evaluations on guys and hoping that they can get to the quarterback.
The Mike Missanelli Show Holding Court is brought to you by Grunko Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. We treat every case like it's Dallas Week. Pray for peace, prepare for trial. Now back to Mike Missanelli on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up how we feel about the situation. 1 o'clock hour brought to you by Ferguson HVAC Line Conklin. If you're an HVAC contractor, equipment, parts, and supplies for every heating and cooling job, you can visit one of Ferguson's counter locations. They're in Bensalem, King of Prussia, Pensacola, or Westchester. It's so easy to look at the play and say you should have run the football. It's too easy. It's like it doesn't really engender any thought to say that. You know, maybe you're not wrong, but the point of the matter is that play is like a running play that would have accomplished the same thing. In fact, it would have accomplished more because it would have been a first down than a run would have been, where you go, well, you just run it. If you don't get it, you run it. You either go for it or you kick a field goal anyway. Yeah, and you get 40 seconds off the clock. I get it. But that pass play should have done the same thing. The only reason it didn't is because it was a fluke. He didn't catch it. And I've seen people not catch balls before. I get it. And people go, well, you don't even give him a chance to drop the ball. I mean, it's such a safe play. It was a good call. It was a safe play. Now, what's not safe, and where the whole crux comes down to, is that you have enough of a lead to beat a mediocre team with a quarterback who's coming off an Achilles, who has no timeouts and has to go 70 yards down the field. Now, tell me what makes more sense. The fact that they allowed him to do that, or the fact that it was a horrendous call, which still gave him a 6-point lead? I mean, that's all I'm saying here. Now, Bill is focused on, well, the reason why they went 70 yards down the field is because the personnel lacks on defense, and that falls in Howie Roseman's lap. And it may fall in Howie Roseman's lap. But an experienced defensive coordinator who has only given up 15 points at the time should be savvy enough to come up with some plan to stop them from chunk plays to get the ball down the field. Bada bing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, Fangio's got 30 years of damn experience. I'm with you on that. But when you look at the defense, too, and you say, you know what? We need somebody to come up with a big play in a big moment. This game's on the line. Who on that defense is going to step up and make a big play? Do you have faith in anybody on that defense to be the guy that steps up and makes the big play? They don't have players like that on that side of the football.
They got a guy who calls himself Big Play.
Yeah, and big play.
Oh, my God.
Where was he on the touchdown to Drake London?
Well, he looked at the quarterback. He's only been in the league 100 years, but he looked at the quarterback and let Drake London zigzag him with a pattern.
Now, he came out and he tweeted.
Let me just say about Drake London. Like, what the hell's wrong with these guys? You almost cost your team the win.
Oh, shooting in the sky?
Yeah, like, what is wrong with you people? Did you not know that could be a penalty? You're shooting a gun. Do you not know that's going to be a penalty?
And Raheem Morris
and
was
he put Young White Koo in the 48-yard extra point.
But why was Raheem Morris so angry at the ref and not at London? I'm with you.
Because he didn't know he was shooting a gun. He just thought it was a celebration, which is what I first thought. Yeah, I looked at it again. And he's shooting a gun. That's a no-no. I thought he was doing a Usain Bolt type of thunder, a thunder arrow.
Now, I'm going to make a prediction, Mike, and I hope I'm wrong. Darius, we're going to call him Darius today. Darius tweets out yesterday, "That's on me, Philly. I owe you one." My prediction, when he goes on his podcast this week, he will make some sort of excuse for that play.
Yeah.
Ray, can you monitor that, please? You're good at following these podcasts, especially since he has me blocked. I guarantee he will make an excuse.
Well, you're angry at that block thing. How dare him?
I don't
block
get it.
Bill Colarulo.
Yeah, what the hell did I do? Darius?
Darius?
Yeah, what did I do?
That's pretty big in his mind.
You're going to probably have to get over that.
Trust me, I don't care. I'm only kidding around. I could not care less that he has me
Let's
blocked.
go to Kenny and Wyncote. Kenny, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Kenny!
Good afternoon, Mike. How you doing?
What's up, Kenny?
Good. Listen, there's a bunch of ifs for that football game that goes around. I think the first if is that the defense let the offense go down the field and score that touchdown. Saquon Barkley dropped the football. But to begin with, the last if that I'm going to say, as a matter of fact, I'm going to put that as the first if. If the Eagles did not disrespect Atlanta, they would have hit the field goal when it was 4th and 4. They should have went for the field goal. Then the end of the game, all of it didn't matter. The Eagles would have won by 2 points.
Well, you're looking at it like disrespect. They're looking at it like the analytics say we should have gone for it there. Now, I agree with you. I would have taken the points.
Me too.
But they're always going to rely on the analytics. They have a staff of people who try to figure this stuff out, and the coach just follows suit.
Well, they need to get rid of them.
Well, now their analytical guy's going to have the same conclusion. The analytics say this is what they say, and so they relied on that at first. That it's a go instead of a field goal, and it didn't work out. And so we can look back at it and say, yeah, they sure could have used those 3 points. But then the game may have played out differently had they got the 3 anyway. So you just can't tack a 3 onto their final total.
Well, Atlanta would have if they would have came down, it would have been a 2-possession game. Okay?
I get it, but again, you're tacking. You're tacking on. You're tacking the 3. You're giving them 24 points. When maybe the game would have played out differently, where it would not have ended that way.
Yeah. Oh well. Okay. Thanks, Mike.
All right, you got. Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. At the time, my first instinct, kick it to 3. You need to get points out of this drive. Just get the points out of the drive. You don't come up with empty, and they came up empty. But then here comes the chyron that flashes on the screen, and the analytics say go. Now, Troy Aikman, who should know better. Probably should have said, well, yeah, I know what that analytics said. I don't really agree with it. I mean, he's been in the situation a lot more than we have.
Yeah, and I know they rely on analytics. I know the Eagles were one of the first teams to use it, and they're real big on it. But at that point in the game, you take the points. It's the first quarter. Take the damn points, especially when you know the Falcons' offense isn't moving the ball that well this season, and they look like Kirk Cousins is struggling. Just take the points. Put as many points on the board as you can. It's going to be tough for that offense to move the ball.
Let's go out to Las Vegas. Derek. What's up, Derek?
What's going on, Mike?
Hello, Derek. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Man. I just wanted to call about the call that I was saying that you can't hate on Jalen Hurts because if he only had 6 incompletions before he threw the interception at the last second. I'm sorry, how many seconds did it take Kirk Cousins to go down the field on this?
40-something.
Yeah, it's like 39 seconds.
It's ridiculous.
Jalen Hurts had more than 45 seconds to drive the ball down the field. He didn't even have to go the full length of the field. All he had to do was get us.
No, I agree. I don't know who's making play calls there. I don't know what's going on in his head.
And they had a timeout.
Yeah, a good quarterback says, I just need a little dribs and drabs here, I guess, in the field goal range, and not make a throw like that. I agree.
No, the interception absolutely killed the game. Like it was over once he threw the pick. Like that's where the game ended.
He's done that before too. He hasn't taken the small gains to get to the minimal performance to get a field goal. He's done that in the past. I don't know what that is about him.
I don't know why he can't find Goddard. Like, what is his issue with Goddard? Like, this is what I've been saying. Like, the difference between Carson Wentz and Zach Ertz and Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert, like, there has to be a middle ground where they can find the tight end. Like, this doesn't make sense where you're not even trying to throw it to your tight end. 3 catches in the whole game where you don't have your number one wide receiver. That means you're not even looking towards the tight end when you need to.
I agree.
Like,
Did Calcaterra get more targets than Goddard, or was it 4-3?
No, it was 4
4-3
targets
Goddard.
for Goddard and 2 for Calcaterra.
Oh, just 2?
Yeah, he caught both of his targets.
Okay.
I'm just, I'm done with Jalen. Like I can see where we're 1-4, and the next couple of weeks, Nick Sirianni's gone in the next within 5 weeks, and then I can see Jalen Hurts being gone by the end of the season. Like if this doesn't get better, I don't see Jalen Hurts coming back at all next year.
I think he'll be back.
Yeah, I think so.
He's the quarter. I mean, they invested money in him as the franchise quarterback. It might not be with Sirianni if this thing falls apart, but again, they're 1-1. All right, so I'm not done with Jalen Hurts. I didn't really blame him for last night. They did enough to win the game. Sometimes the defense has to win the game for you, and they didn't. Mark, Kel, you're going to be next. You hang on. We'll take a quick break. 632-0975, and the Mike Missanelli Show continues. Today, for obvious reasons, I knew as soon as that we stared in disbelief at the ending of that game. ESPN couldn't even believe it. Scott Van Pelt grew hair. That's how shocked he was last night.
The whole ESPN crew in the city last night. Pre-game. Xfinity Live was rocking last night.
That was Drake London. He was interviewing Drake London after the game, and he goes after the game, "I appreciate you, Scott." And Scott Van Pelt goes, "I appreciate you too, man." Come on, man. All right, so what do you think of Jason Kelce's performance last night? They didn't have enough of him. They brought him into the booth to give. He was a little subdued in the booth with his analysis.
He was a little bit subdued. I thought he was okay in the booth, but we did our pregame show last night looking at the stage where Kelce went on with the DJ and was doing his dancing before. I'm like, what is he doing?
Yeah, at the dance, he was doing the dance. I don't know.
And I know people love
he's really
it.
close to being a cartoon, to be honest with you.
It's over the top. And then he's wearing the Italian jumpsuit.
And they did a shtick with that with Big Dom. That's your boy.
Yeah.
Mr. South Philly, giving him the South Philly tuxedo, as if all of us Italians should not be insulted by wearing a Sopranos a green Italia patch,
and he's wearing
sweatsuit.
He's got the Mr. T starter set around his neck with the gold chain.
Yeah, like it's bad enough that I got to put up with a pizza box with a stereotype Italian with a mustache, with a chef throwing dough in the air. Now I got to have that South Philly tuxedo.
I don't know, man. I love Kelce, but I'm starting to have a little too much of this cartoon character he's creating for himself.
Markel in South Philly. What's up, Markel?
Hey, Mike, what's up, Mike?
How you doing, man?
I ain't doing well. Eagles let me down.
I can tell.
Eagles let me down.
You sound morose.
Very. I woke up upset.
Yeah, Bill, he couldn't get to sleep last night. Bill.
Yeah, it was tough.
Me? Yeah, I take a melatonin. Right. So talk to me about why you're so disturbed, Markel.
Because the defense.
Mm-hmm.
That's the defense. Where the sacks at? Where the interceptions at? We have no turnovers. No fumble recoveries. No fumble. Can't even get the ball on the ground. Can't sack. Some just can't move.
I'm looking at the sack. They got one sack out of Milton Williams.
One sack.
That's one sack.
You got one sack.
Jordan Davis, by the way.
Come on.
2 tackles, 1 solo.
Like, it makes no sense.
Let's see. Where's the other guy? Jalen Carter didn't have a tackle.
At all.
Come on, man. See, that's you can't not have it. You're Jalen Carter in the middle of that line. You cannot not have a tackle.
At all. Come on, man. We simply want to blame. We want to blame Hurts. We want to blame the offense. They was heroes last night.
I hear you, man. They've got a defensive tackle problem that I didn't think they would have.
Listen, without our number one offensive player, they was fine. That drop ball meant nothing. We still scored and went up 6.
Yeah,
we left less than a
I get it.
We left less than a minute on the clock with no timeout.
I hear you. And Devin White, a non-player last night. I get it. He doesn't play special teams. Maybe he doesn't want to play special teams. What's the use? What is the use of having that guy? Why did you acquire that guy?
It's a miss. It was a miss by Howie Roseman, man, and it looks like Huff was too, and Nolan Smith. And here's the other thing that bothers me. You drafted Jalix Hunt in the 3rd round this year.
Activated him last night, right?
Pretty much.
Activated?
He was activated.
Didn't play?
He was activated. He played special teams.
He did play special teams. Okay.
But when you have a defense that lacks personnel the way this defense lacks personnel, can you really afford to draft a developmental player out of Houston Christian who was a safety at Cornell? I'm just like, I want to get into the mind of Howie Roseman. What are you doing?
By the way, Brandon Graham did not have a stat last night. Now, I'm going, why? Why would you need it? Okay, you want to bring him back for ceremonial reasons, I get it. I mean, you want to bring him back and play more than 50% of snaps? What do you expect you're going to get from him? Seriously, what are you expecting?
Well, last night, defensive edge Sweat played 40 snaps. Huff played 32. BG played 28. Nolan Smith
he only played 28 last night?
Yeah, he played 28 last night.
I didn't have a stat.
But it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, who are you going to give the reps to? Nolan Smith?
But my point is, you don't bring BG back. You go in another direction with somebody who can help you more. Kingsley on a cell. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Kingsley.
Hey, how's it going, Mike?
What's up, man?
I'm doing good, man. Good hearing your voice again.
Thank you, buddy.
I've never seen a more unproductive group on defense, man. It's just a whole bunch of guys that do nothing. The only person that does anything on that defense is Quinyon Mitchell right now, man. It's horrible. I feel like we need to go.
Except he muffed a big play on that drive last night.
Oh yeah. That is right. That is true.
I mean, that was almost a 30-yard gain that he muffed.
Yeah, no, it's I don't know what's going on, man. It's just if you look across the league, you see production from even the Panthers have production on defense. We just got a whole bunch of guys. Half of them are old as hell. Just no pressure, nothing. They're not doing anything. Like we have the worst defense in the NFL. It's not even close, man. It's just I don't know what's going on, man. We need to go to the Jets. Do a swap and trade. The heart and soul of that defense. We traded them away. In what's his name? In Hassan Reddick. Like he had the best celebration when he had a pressure or tackle, and we traded him away. Like that was the heart and soul of the defense. It doesn't make sense. We should have paid him anything he wanted, but it is what it is. Now we got to play the Saints next week.
It isn't Tampa Bay after that.
Yep. Oh my God!
Well, are you kidding me? This team could be 1-3.
Listen, you know that every team in the league is licking their chops. They're saying, "Oh, we're going to run for 500 yards against this team. We can't stop." Wide open holes everywhere. Wide open holes everywhere.
Listen, the game should have been the Eagles with a 6-point win, and then you would have looked at the final numbers and minus 70 from their passing total. Right? They wound up with 233. So you take 70 away, they would have run for 152, passed for 153, and that would have looked a lot better, right? Instead, look how it turns out.
It would have, but something is broken with this run defense. The first 9 games last year, Mike, they gave up 66 yards a game. That was the best in the NFL by far. And now you look at since then, they've let every opponent rush for over 100 yards. They're averaging over 160 yards.
That's what I mean. They've given up 300 yards on the ground in 2 games. Oh, boy. Rohit in Collegeville. What's up, Rohit?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
What's going on, man?
I'm just at a loss of – this game is so reminiscent of the Seattle game from last year.
It is.
Where it was just like Jekyll and Hyde. Like, what's going on? Is this the same team that played the first 55 minutes? And, like, what happened? Mm-hmm. So I'm with you on the defense. I don't even know, like, how can so many guys be wide open on a drive when, on chunk plays? So how is that possible? And then do these guys learn tackling? Like, do they just stop tackling at some point? Like, we don't want to tackle. So anyway, I'm going to be all over the place because there's so much blame to be passed around. But the one thing is, I don't blame Howie Roseman because the same players produce other places. I remember when Gardner Johnson left and everybody was like, oh, why do you let him go? Because, he's playing at a Pro Bowl level in Detroit and we bring him back and he's sucking again. We let TJ Edwards go when everybody thought he was an average linebacker, and he's just turned into a monster in Chicago. There was another.
Not everybody.
Jordan,
Not everybody thought he was an average linebacker. I wanted to see them re-sign him. He was very good when he was.
They could have re-signed him for $6 million, which to me would have been paltry.
I could remember people just getting after him. So props to you for seeing that. But I remember people beating down on him. All the time.
They got cheap. I don't think C.J. Gardner played that great in Detroit. To be honest with you, he was banged up a lot.
Yeah,
and I think that they
but do you remember like how everybody was?
They tried to cover up their mistake though, and bringing him back. Maybe he's not as good as he was here before. He's made 2 bad plays in 2 straight games where he's allowed touchdowns. And you know, it's funny. I'm thinking to myself, my God, he made that hit, and we're going to forget that he actually muffed the play that resulted in a touchdown, where he was out of position and he missed the tackle.
Right. And Slay, man. I mean, come on, man. Like that was half a move.
He owes you one, though.
Yeah, he does. His name's Darius today.
He said he owes you one. So there you go. 1-3. Mike Missanelli Show coming down the home stretch. More of your calls after this. Phillies and Brewers tonight. I guess we turn our attention back to the Phils tonight. 7:40 start in Milwaukee. Phils lose last night. Tonight they are a minus 135 favorite. That's a little slim. Zach Wheeler at minus 135 against Frankie Montas. This has got to be a win for the Phils, no? Minus 135 looks cheap.
I'm with you. I think it's more of a must-win because you don't want to rely all on Nola tomorrow.
It is a must-win, and it's a slender Philly line at minus 135. Anything?
It is a little bit
You taking
slender.
a shot there?
I'm staying away from it, but
Staying away from the game tonight?
you look at those
Minus
standings.
135.
Give it to me.
You taking it?
Yeah.
American Family Field tonight.
By the way,
formerly Miller Park.
MBD earlier in the show said you look like a homeless guy in a Pixar movie.
What? That doesn't even make sense.
No, but I got to always say.
Are there homeless guys in Pixar movies?
I don't know. He also said you look like Tom Hanks if he would have stayed on the island in Castaway. Those are his two shots at you today.
They were weaker today.
No, they were weaker.
Yeah, weaker.
Second one better than the first.
Yeah, he's going to come up bigger than that.
Yeah.
Come on,
Everyone's
MBD.
struggling over the last 24 hours.
Hey, he probably didn't sleep much.
No.
I'll tell you what, though, everybody slept better than you last night.
Yeah. I would
Ray, I got to see other people with dedication. Ray does a post-game show. You were here to win? 2 in the morning? Post-game show?
Post-game show ended at 2.
Ended at 2. And you said rather than go home, and you live in the city, but you had an air mattress and you slept here.
Yes.
So you could get up early and produce this particular program.
That was the plan.
That's dedication. You're going to go places, kid, with that kind of dedication.
That's the hope.
However, wasn't all good. He did email us without an attachment.
That was bad.
At 2:30 in the morning.
Oh, did he email?
Without the attachment to the email. I sent you guys.
We'll give him a pass.
No attachment.
It was only 2:30 in the morning after an entire night of working.
Yeah.
I saw
All
that
right,
email back. I was like,
back to the phones. Let's talk to Spock. What's up, Spock?
Hi, fellas. How are you
What's
today?
going on? How you doing?
Good. I know you're a little saddened, but Dom should know better that when a guy named with a nickname named Cuz comes into South Philly, he's going to beat you. You should know that because you know why I say that? Because I can't understand. After all these years, I lived in Wisconsin 30 years. I could have used a little, hey, here from South Philly. Hey, here from South Philly. Hey, here from South Philly. Why all of a sudden that started? I wish you guys would.
Well, what the hell are you even talking about? I have no idea what you're even talking about.
I'm trying to.
What do you mean? Who's Cuz?
He's about Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins? You're talking about?
Yeah.
Wait, who's ever referred to him as Cuz?
Listen. You want to know me? Go look up the 1980 championship run, Wilbur Montgomery, and look whose arms he runs into. My father had a gas station in South Philly. All the Eagles used to come in there, man, in the 70s. Darnell Ward, Frank LeMaster, Bunning, Jaworski, who else? Bigfoot Harrison. They all came in my father's gas station and hung out for hours.
Spock, you sound
You know
like
what I mean? I'm trying to loosen you up a little bit.
Yeah, you sound like a paisan. I'm just wondering where you're going with this.
Nah, I just want to have fun with you, so the fans.
All right.
It's hard to have fun today.
You threw me off because I never heard anybody refer to Kirk Cousins as Cuz.
Well, they call him Cuz.
They do? Who calls him that?
The players in Atlanta and stuff like that.
They
call him
do?
Cuz.
I never heard that they call him Cuz. They call him Cuz? I never heard it.
I don't know. Wow.
I knew the guy here they used to call Cuz. But I don't remember Kirk Cousins being called Cuz.
No. Spock, love you, man. Didn't know where you were going with it, though.
They all would come in.
I don't know what he was
Dennis
saying.
Harrison.
I don't get what the point of it was, though. He said Dom should know that a guy that comes in named Cuz is going to win in Philly.
There's some kind of a South Philly connection that Cuz, the guy called the guy Cuz. He'd be, dude, at any level, I've never heard somebody refer to Kirk Cousins as Cuz.
No, and if you've ever heard him speak, Kirk Cousins should not have the nickname Cuz.
Exactly. He's the anti-Cuz.
Big time.
He's like white bread Midwest. Tuck in West Philly. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Tuck. What's up, Tuck?
What's going on, Mike? How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Well, good to hear your voice again. It's my first time calling since you've been off the air, bro. So it's good to have you back on.
Thank you, Tuck.
No problem. But listen, I love to see the hometown team do well, right? I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, but I love to see the Eagles do well. But the problem with this Eagles team is they soft, man. They are soft. That play call at the end on 3rd and 3. That was a soft play call. They brought in.
It actually was an aggressive play call. It wasn't a soft play call.
I don't agree with that.
How's that not an aggressive call when you throw the ball and try to get a first down to lock up the game? How is that soft?
Because I think tough teams are good at moving the football on the ground. You got to run it.
Let me ask you, Tuck. I want you to be real, for real.
Yeah.
Was that play open?
Yes, it was open.
All right. Was it a soft pass that you should be able to catch? Was it just like a run?
But this is the thing, though, right? As a head coach, you have to weigh the risk and reward of things. You got a running back that's averaging 4.5 yards a carry. You need 3 yards for a first down. They could have picked up that 3 yards on the ground.
Okay, but what's risky about that kind of a throw? If
Mike, what you saw. That's what's risky about it.
But that's not risky. That's not risky. I'm throwing in the middle of the field might be risky. That's not risky. You're floating the ball out to a guy open in the flat. How's that risky?
Anytime, when you put the ball in the air on 3rd and 3, when the opposing team has no timeouts, you have to
put the ball in the air in somewhere else, not a floater in the flat that's wide open. That's not risky.
No, I'm with you. I don't think it's risky. And to Tuck's point that Saquon was averaging 4.5 yards a carry, not against a loaded box like that.
No, he wasn't going to get 4 yards.
He was not. Situation. He was going to be lucky if he got a yard.
It was an aggressive call. It wasn't a afraid call.
But it was such a safe play call, not only because of how easily floated the ball could be to Saquon. If it wasn't there, Jalen keeps it. That's what people are missing. If Saquon wasn't open, Jalen keeps the ball and the clock runs. He only throws it if Saquon's open, and he was. Barkley dropped it. He should share in some of the blame, but the play call was the right damn call.
Stick in Clearwater. What's up, Stick?
Hey, Mikey, man.
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Man, long time no hear.
It's been a while.
Hey, are any of you guys coming down for the Tampa game?
That would be a negative.
Oh, man. No, man.
I'm not sure the budget would permit the show to go down to Tampa for the game.
Wait a minute. Andrew and Kincade and all those guys were down there last year.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're getting the nod, to be honest with you.
Bit, huh?
Yeah, well.
All right, man, I just want – look, I'll see you.
We're the irrelevant midday show. They're not going to spend dollars on us.
The problem is our producer, Ray Dunn, takes all the money. So we don't have the money to go around for anybody else.
That's awesome. Hey, well, I'll see you guys hopefully in spring training, okay? I know you want to get down there.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing that either.
No, that's not out. That's not out just yet.
Hey, look, a couple quick ones, and I'll let y'all expound on it. Obviously, we're all beating the Eagles up. Hurts, honestly, he looks lost again. If his legs don't save him, I don't know what does. The deep ball is not there. And, of course, with that A.J. in the slant, he's in trouble.
Well, they still had enough to win that game last night. He played well enough to win the game. That's all I'll say, Stick. He played well enough to win the game.
He did.
That's not where I'm going to look at Jalen Hurts and go, okay. Here's the one thing that I don't have that much confidence in, like I have other savvy quarterbacks, to take you down the field in regular fashion to do what's necessary. I'm a little reluctant to commit to him right now because I've now seen a couple of times where he hasn't been able to do that, and that worries me. But he has done it in the past in a few games as well. Last night was an unnecessary throw to get that interception. You work the middle of the field, you got timeouts, you can clock it. I don't understand the throw, but he does that sometimes.
Yeah, it was an unnecessary risk. He's trying to push the ball down the field. He didn't have to at that point, but on the list of responsible for this game and this loss, Jalen's probably like 10th.
I agree, and so let's get to Arthur, who's now going to blame him. Go ahead, Arthur.
Yo, brother, first, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
That's what I want to hear. Now, listen, as far as that cuz go, nobody uses that word. They use the word cuisine, not cuz.
They use cuz.
Whatever, I'm updating. Look into it. Look into it, genius. Now, let's get on. Yo, 3 yards and you can't run the ball. Guess what? You're not winning the Super Bowl. I'll give you that as a fact.
Arthur, there's nobody picking up 3 yards in that situation. They had the box loaded with 9 guys.
Arthur, the clock on the screen it says Time to bench Hurts. That's what you're going to.
I agree. I'm on it.
This is what you're going to. That was your main point. Time to bench Hurts.
Yeah. Now two more games. If he sucks anyway, I'm going to keep it real for you. You keep on covering for this clown. Tell him to go make commercials. He's not that good. Go ahead. You could defend him.
I'm just listening to you. I don't have the energy to go back and forth with you. You're talking about a Giant fan and you're hurt and you got Daniel Jones and I got to listen to you talk about the situation here. I mean, my God, come on, don't waste my time.
About them. How about your Phillies? We can go there too.
The Phillies are going to be the first or second seed.
No, brother Mike, I love you, but when you start stuttering like that, in the court,
they just took 2 or 3 from the Mets, did they not?
They beat them out. Yeah.
Okay, well, I know. Listen. At this point of the show, Arthur, I don't have the energy to wrestle with ridiculous points. Carl and Bucks, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Carl.
I know you're up against Mike, so I'll go right to my point.
Go ahead.
This team does not have an identity. They're like that flower that Nick planted when he first came here. They're lovely and soft. Where was our defense? How can that defense with, 4 number 1 picks coming off of Alabama and Georgia teams not reach the quarterback who's immobile, plus coming off of a foot injury? The guy stands 4-step drop and stands there. We couldn't knock him down. What happened here? We've got a great coordinator, great players. I don't know where the energy is going to come from, but there's none on this team, man. They're flat.
Well, I can't refute what you just said, but they're only 2 games in. So if next week if they lose to the Saints and then they lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, well then we got troubles.
But I'll tell you something, Mike. Your point is they're only 2 games in. When you're drowning and you're only up to your chin, and then it gets up to your nose, you're only up to your chin.
Yeah, but they weren't.
Your nose.
They didn't drown in week 1. They didn't. I mean, it wasn't impressive, but they didn't drown in week 1. They drowned last night because their defense allowed them to go 70 yards in 3 seconds.
And Philadelphia is a defense town, and we don't have that. Why don't they blitz? Why don't they?
Well, Fangio is not a blitz guy, and so he's gonna have to adjust. They're going to have to adjust in a couple of ways. Number one, stopping the run, and number 2, you got to get pressure on the quarterback. They haven't been able to do it.
I'm a lot older than most of you guys. The blitz, the cornerback blitz, was invented by a Philadelphia coach, Jerry something, way back in the late '60s. He invented that stuff.
Jerry Williams.
Jerry Williams.
Jerry Williams invented the cornerback blitz.
Look, Mike, I know you wanted to see Fangio be a little more aggressive on that final drive. I agree. But the answer isn't just blitz. You got to blitz. You got to blitz. That's not the answer.
I didn't say that was the answer.
No, to the caller.
Yeah, well, now you're going to have to. If you don't believe in your personnel, you're going to have to do something different. But it's time for closing arguments.
Now, closing arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit LowenthalAbrams.com.
All right, let's get real. They didn't lose last night because Saquon Barkley dropped the ball. First of all, he was a beast for most of the night. He's one of the reasons why they had a 6-point lead in the final minute of the game. They lost because Vic Fangio's defense allowed a mediocre team with a quarterback who's coming off an Achilles tendon injury to sit back there and get chunk plays and go 70 yards in less than 1 minute. But while I'm at it, let's go with this. They can't stop the run. Their pass rush stinks because they didn't adequately address it. Their defensive tackles right now stink. They don't utilize the tight end. And last night they had really one receiver that they targeted, Devontae Smith, but somehow they threw to Britton Covey 6 times. They have zero dynamics with their end rush. And if that doesn't improve, they've got no chance. This is a league where you have to get pressure on the quarterback. They're not getting pressure in the quarterback. And so let me get to Nick Sirianni. He's the CEO. He's not the defensive coordinator. He's not the offensive coordinator who called that play to Saquon Barkley, which a lot of people think was terrible. But he is the CEO who now has lost 8 of his last 10 games. And so now with the schedule coming up with the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if the Eagles go 1-3, what hope do we have for this season? 1-3 is not a good place to come from. And so I hate to fathom the thought that this season, 4 games in, that we're running uphill. And that's the end of my closing argument. And anybody who says that the Saquon drop ball lost the game is immersed in shallow thought. End of story.
It was a contributing factor. But on your rant about Vic Fangio, what I guess we're going to need Vic Fangio to do is make chicken salad out of you-know-what. Because I don't think the personnel exists on this football team for the defense for the second year in a row, and that's on Howie Roseman.
All righty, folks. Immerse yourself in Philly baseball tonight and try to forget about football for one night. Now, we're going to be analyzing this all week, obviously, and tomorrow we'll come at it again with different angles. And tomorrow also is General Knowledge Wednesday, so we'll at least lighten the load on people who today are suffering really hard at a loss that I still can't believe they had last night. I stood there and I watched the screen and I went, wait, did they just lose that game? It's impossible. A good team does not lose a game like that.
And speaking of impossible, Restaurant Impossible tomorrow, isn't it?
Robert Irvine will be on tomorrow.
Chef Irvine.
Muscles marinara.
Loved that show back in the day.
Yeah, he's coming on. He's got a charity thing he's doing with the Phillies. So we'll have him on tomorrow, and we'll have some fun with him. He's a big sports fan.
He should be with arms like that. Looks like he was an athlete back in the day, no?
I don't know. The muscles get in the way of you actually making sliver cuts and meat. You know? Because he couldn't play basketball with those muscles. I'm thinking maybe you got to have ultimate flexibility. He doesn't cook anymore anyway.
I wish he was coming in. We could have arm wrestled.
He's got I'm not arm wrestling him.
I would have taken him on.
You would have taken him on. You would have got humiliated.
Ray would have taken him on.
All right, everybody have a great rest of the night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.